Stop Decorating is the place for beautiful, energy-efficient window coverings. One Stop Decorating offers free in-home or virtual consultations, or you can come into one of their 3 beautiful showrooms to see all the window coverings in their Hunter Douglas galleries. Ask about smart shades that can be controlled by Google, Alexa, and HomeKit. 913-270-0408, 913-270-0408, or onestopdecorating.com. Your home, your windows, your style.
Hey sports fans, Joni here, and I'm excited to tell you about the newly opened In the Zone Cryo. In the Zone Cryo will help decrease pain and inflammation, accelerate muscle recovery, increase your energy, and boost your immune system. In the Zone Cryo also offers Instasculpt fat reduction, personal training, infrared heat, compression therapy, and more. Mention Sports Radio 810 and receive 10% off your first service. Come see us at College and Metcalf. Call 913-208-4859 or visit inthezonecryo.com. Feel, look, and perform your best with In the Zone Cryo.
Hey, this is Stephen St. John, and I've been listening to how great Nate feels after going to Stretch Zone, so I had to try it out myself, and I feel fantastic. And my wife, Susan, she's had 2 years of daily back pain, which is already feeling better after a few sessions. Stretch Zone will help you relieve stiffness and soreness, increase and maintain range of motions, and enhance physical skills. Stretch Zone is located in Lenexa and Overland Park. For more information, check out StretchZone.com.
Isn't this a sports show?
You're the Ben Roethlisberger of
I don't want to be the Ben Roethlisberger of
Twitter.
anything.
Sports radio Twitter? Just blocking people out here?
Almost entirely.
People who have never even heard of you just like will go to your account and say, yeah, he's blocking something.
Could I
So
be
who's Antonio Brown here?
Also, Josh?
That's what I thought the answer was going to be.
This is Almost Entirely Sports with Joshua Brisco.
Am I also Le'Veon Bell?
Probably.
Yeah. Can I also be Mike Tomlin? Like, it's also me that's barely holding it all together in a fragile ecosystem?
Yeah, it is just the 2018 Pittsburgh
2018 Steelers?
All inside it.
Is Rudy James Conner, or is that also you?
Take the show with you by listening on the Sports Radio 810 mobile app at 810WHB.com or by searching for Almost Entirely Sports wherever you get your podcasts.
Huzzah! I'm not an idiot yet. You just weren't me saying huzzah, I'm not an idiot yet?
Yes.
That feels right.
This is Almost Entirely Sports on Sports Radio 810 WHB.
Hello, welcome into the show. I didn't mean for that to rhyme, but here we go. Joshua Brisco, Rudy Salazar, Beards McFly, all here with you on a Wednesday that feels kind of like a Friday, maybe a Thursday. We got KU and UTEP tomorrow night, so no AES tomorrow. But plenty of things to talk about in the interim here today. We got some Chiefs stuff. We've got our weekly conversation with David Lesky that'll come up here in an hour. 2 hours from now, we'll talk to Harold Kuntz of Fox4 about pretty much everything going on, just kind of across the board. The college basketball picture has started forming a little bit. The Royals are up and running, obviously, in spring training. And some of the things that I'm most excited about right now are surrounding the Kansas City Chiefs because free agency is exciting and fun, and it's all about the greener grass that's over there somewhere. And that's a fun place to be for just some sort of conversational sports talk radio evenings to kick our feet up and try to do some salary cap bending so the Chiefs can sign literally everybody. In fact, I've got a couple of newly free agent players that I'm excited to bring to the table here momentarily.
I think there's one guy that we are definitely on the same. I think we're both thinking of.
Dak Prescott?
Yes.
What really bums me out there is that I was desperately trying to come up with the funniest name, and Beards beat me to it. That's always a tough pill to swallow. Yeah. Whenever Beards is more like high alert than
get good, scrub,
than I am. This is amazing. Whenever you have to run a live show before this one, you actually get the bloods flow in for the hour before this show as opposed to just starting the moment this show intro plays.
I mean, moderating an auction live on air is kind of interesting.
I'd like to ask them to do that not just every week, but every day. If we could just do a daily crunch time where you have to run an auction during every week, as happened during crunch time today, I would love that because clearly it puts you on your A game. You might crash by the end of this segment, but hey.
That's okay. I've got sweet tarts here, sour ones, and I still have my cherry Coke from Slim's.
Beards is basically on a cocaine binge right now.
You've been here since 3. How old is this Coke?
Just since then.
How warm is that Coke?
It's fine.
It is
It's
so
fine enough.
room temperature.
For all of our conversations we have about Coke No Ice, your point is always I drink it before it gets cold, before it gets warm, which I actually think is a reasonable take. But this whole thing
It's
right
not,
now,
though.
Beards,
It's still fine.
this is really testing some things.
That's okay. It's not peak, but it's good enough.
I mean, put that on the tombstone of this show, and maybe all three of us. It's not at its peak, but it's good enough.
I don't know if I qualify for that, to be totally honest. I don't know if I'm there. Oh, breaking news.
Yeah.
The news we have, hold up. This Twitter, I mean, I assume it's true because you're like, yeah, it's true. It's just the Twitter handle that they tweeted out was the wrong one. Grady Dick has just committed to Kansas basketball. We did it, boys.
Great work, everybody.
We did it.
Absolutely excellent.
We
Yes,
did it.
Scott Chasen. We should have asked Scott about this last night.
We
Really
should've.
disappointing that we didn't.
I forgot.
I'm going to retweet this right now. Really important, though. Grady Dick is the name of an actual player. Apparently, he's a 4-star small forward, committed to KUB ball. Grady Dick. I mean, if we can't get those jerseys hanging in the rafters at Allen Fieldhouse, what's it going to take, huh? He is. I just clicked his
New jersey for the office?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
We got to. I assume he's been wearing number 22 in high school,
Based on his Twitter
considering
handle,
his Twitter
yes.
handle. We'll have to wait and see what it is in college. He's our new. God's a strong word, but Messiah.
I would say
Is a Messiah and a God the same thing?
apple of our eye at the very
Yeah,
least.
for
At
sure.
the very least. Really important. You did spell his name wrong in your tweet there. There is an E in Grady.
We need that edit feature. Oh, God, delete that. Thanks for the catch.
You're welcome.
No,
Listen,
you
if there's
check
anything
that
that I'm
out.
an expert about at this point, it is spelling Grady Dick's name correctly.
Yeah. The fact that it has an E in there too, it's just that much better.
I also didn't want to be a Grady Dick about it, but
But thank you.
I just wanted to get Grady Dick's name correct for you.
Hey, these are sometimes like the fine details don't matter that much, right? Like sometimes it's like, oh, he made 25 million instead of 24 million. Like who really does that really matter, right?
Yeah.
This is not one of those moments.
This one is important to get
This
things
matters.
correct. Yeah, absolutely.
This matters.
Well, so
Thank
congratulations.
you for the like.
Congratulations, not just to the Dick family, but also to all KU fans everywhere. Listen, I mean, you've been looking for an Azubuike. You've been looking for another Mason. You've been looking for a Mason.
Yep.
You've been looking for a Dotson. Could I offer you this Dick? Grady Dick. Grady Dick.
Grady Dick Justice?
Justice for all. There's
There's a T-shirt in there somewhere.
Very exciting recruit there for KU basketball. He's a 4-star small forward, but it's a 5-star name. Good work there for Kansas. Big win for Bill Self.
Ooh.
If that is about the Nuggets, Rudy, I'm
No.
going to throw you off the balcony.
Sorry, no. I've just got the Missouri-Florida game on, and
Oh, yeah, it's-
Florida guy just threw down a dunk like I have. Oof. Sorry.
That's okay.
It was brutal.
Sometimes the dunk makes you have to go, oof.
Yeah.
I understand. That's just
It was-
that's a part of
it
the human
was
spirit.
Vicious.
We will keep an eye on Mizzou and Florida because I think there's a little something to this game right now, and Mizzou right now just hit a 3, is up 4 now. So I'm not going to give you play-by-play, but 6 minutes left there. We'll keep an eye on that game because I'm not sure if this is going to determine how their tournament run goes or doesn't go. You got to feel pretty good about the tournament berth, and it's about what happens after that point that is going to determine how this season looks. But it would be nice to not continue losing every single thing you touch.
Joe Lunardi said this week that they could lose out and they'd be in. They're just too high. That because and here's the thing, Joe Lunardi knows this stuff.
Sure.
He's like they're just too high. But seeding matters, right? Like the difference is
Absolutely.
if they lose out, and part by losing out, we're talking. I think maybe we're talking 3 games, right? Because it's Florida, LSU, your first game in the SEC tournament. So it would only be 3 more losses. But
You'd like to think they wouldn't lose in the
Point
first round of the
being-
SEC tournament also, but you'd like to think that
if
it wouldn't
they
have gotten
lost-
this bad.
Yeah,
so,
but just saying if they lost out,
Right.
right? And that was his deal. Like they could lose out and they would still get in. But seeding matters, and beating Florida helps your seeding. Like the better seed you get means you have a better chance of at least winning a first-round game because you play a worse opponent. Like
Also, potentially just ending your conference play on this stretch. That win against South Carolina is the thing breaking up. Potentially a 3-game losing streak, and then potentially splitting up 2 3-game losing streaks, depending on how tonight goes, and then they get LSU to wrap up conference play. Are they going to try to reschedule that A&M game? I do not know that off the top of my head. At this point, I'm not sure it would make sense.
I think like every school who needs to reschedule games has said like we're looking into it, we're talking about it. I don't think A&M has any interest in playing more basketball games.
Also good point.
They
might go ahead
I think
and pack
Missouri isn't necessarily trying to like get that game in.
So let's say that game doesn't happen, so be it. It would also just be nice to be going into the NCAA tournament with not even really momentum,
some wins,
but just a neutral.
Yeah, just to feel all right.
Just not moving one way or another, not in a full-on backslide. So that'll be interesting to see how this game wraps up here tonight. We'll let you know whenever that game goes final, if it gets real close, heads into overtime and whatever.
This is March.
Here's what I wanted to kick off today's show with, because I promise, unless you saw this tweet already, it is going to blow your mind straight out of the back of your skull. This is I'm not going to oversell this. This is one of the most bat bleep bonkers things I've ever seen. And if either of you have seen it, don't spoil it.
I think I know you're talking
That's
about.
fine. I don't care if you know. Lots of people listening don't know. I don't really, listen, you guys can
don't know, Josh.
You guys can just watch Mizzou, Florida.
No, I'll listen. I'm not going to ruin it. I think I know.
Matt Derrick tweeted this out.
I do not know.
Oh, really? And then he confirmed it also from another old newspaper. This is a story from 1983.
I know.
On this date in 1983, something interesting happened that is going to... In fact, Beards, I'll continue filibustering. I need to read... No, it's not really reading the internet. It's reading an old newspaper.
Do you still want the image?
But it
No,
is
you
on
just
the
acapella
internet.
the intro on the fly.
I'm just gonna read it. I'm just gonna read it because it's not reading the internet.
Okay.
I'll go ahead and hit it. Go ahead.
And now, Josh, read.
The newspaper from 1983. Hiding behind an alias, Pittsburgh Steelers quarterback Terry Bradshaw entered a North Louisiana hospital and underwent minor surgery for muscle tears in the elbow of his throwing arm. During his stay, Bradshaw made rounds in the hospital to visit sick children and, quote, really cheered them up, officials said Tuesday. The 4-time winning Super Bowl quarterback was admitted to Doctors Hospital on March 3rd under the name Thomas Brady. Bradshaw, who owns a farm south of Shreveport, was operated on the same day and left the hospital March 5th, said Hospital Administrator Charles Boyd.
By the way, it's Shreveport.
Thank you. Many times we've had to admit people under an assumed name or under no name to keep press and fans away, Boyd said. Dr. William Burdick, a lot of tricky last names on this one. A Shreveport,
Yes.
Shreveport orthopedic surgeon repaired
That's in Louisiana.
small muscle tears in Bradshaw's elbow, Boyd said. Dr. Burdick was in consultation with the surgeon for the Pittsburgh Steelers, he said. Burdick and Bradshaw would do strength exercises until he could begin throwing a football in June. The headline here, I'm not going to read the remainder of the story, but the headline is Steelers, quote, Tom Brady, unquote, undergoes arm surgery. I could not make up something more glitch in the matrix, bat bleep bonkers.
Mm-hmm.
Matt Derrick tweeted, the only thing that would blow my mind more today is if we found out that Joe Montana had back surgery in 1986 using the alias Patrick Mahomes.
The second.
The second! It has to be the second!
So are we thinking... so like I assume we're on the same page here, right?
Which is that Tom Brady's never that he is...
No, that Terry Bradshaw is actually Tom Brady's father.
Oh, interesting. No, I've got it the other. I've got that Tom Brady actually has 11 Super Bowls now.
Is it like a Benjamin Button thing? Like he started off old and he's just been getting younger?
We've already talked about Tom Brady's plastic surgery.
I mean, look at Terry Bradshaw.
You mean his water consumption?
We've talked about his plastic surgery.
And
the
the
Terry
avocado ice
Bradshaw.
cream.
No, Terry Bradshaw on TV right now is just a dude that Tom Brady found wandering around the streets, and that he was like, "Hey, old man, I'll make you rich."
That's actually believable.
And
Yep.
it would also.
Just please wear some pants. And he was
put
just
some
like,
pants on.
I can't promise you the pants. And Brady's like, yeah, that's fine.
Would Terry
This'll
Bradshaw
work.
be a more illogical commentator? No, absolutely not. I tweeted in response to Matt, simply in all caps, "This cannot be real." I didn't really think that Matt had gotten got by the internet, but it's just completely unfathomable.
Yeah. The odds of that are just, they're crazy.
Matt Derrick, real journalist, said, "I have independently confirmed with the same article from the Tyrone, Pennsylvania Daily Herald, which fortunately ran the story next to the Bowlers of the Week, and I'm not doing this on purpose. And how badly do I wish that picture of Dick Lannon was in full color glory," which is the name of one of the featured Daily Herald bowling report, winners.
Father of a Grady Dick, I assume?
No, first name,
Okay.
last name, it's different.
Maybe.
But there is a section of this paper about the Bowlers of the Week. I'm sorry for all of these obscene names. But off to the side, it says this. This is from, this is also printed in a Pennsylvania newspaper here. Same exact story, just reprinted. Shreveport, as some of us like to call it. Hiding behind an alias, Pittsburgh Steelers quarterback Terry Bradshaw entered a North Louisiana hospital and went minor surgery for muscle tears. Blah, 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 blah. He was admitted on March 3rd under the name Thomas Brady. It just seems impossible. It seems like a long con that cannot possibly have actually happened.
It does. I mean, you're right.
It just doesn't make... I know that I'm going to repeat... We could do this entire 3-hour show on this story.
Good.
And I would never advance the ball. I would just be right here going over and over again, reading the story, saying Shreveport, and then...
Shreveport.
Baffling... Just being baffled for 3 consecutive hours. Straight out of Shreveport. Yeah. Who does Wade Davis play for?
Rockies.
Don't think that's true anymore.
The Monarchs?
It's just total nonsense. It's an unbelievable story that I am forever in the debt of Matt for retweeting. And it was originally tweeted out by Quirky Research on Twitter, at Quirky Research. An account with 5,000 followers that I guess I'm also going to follow now, because the amount of joy and absolute existential chaos that this story brought to me today, I guess I want to get from them as often as possible.
3rd time's the charm. Boston Braves.
No, he's not. Wade Davis is actually a Kansas City Royal.
Never heard of him.
Yeah. Up and comer.
The Royals, you say?
It's just absolutely incredible. Mizzou's leads back down to 3 with about 3 minutes and change left. So again, we'll continue to keep an eye on that. Here is where I thought, I didn't think we could fully make the first segment of this show today about this particular issue. This is a bit of a pet issue of mine.
Mm-hmm.
But this show occasionally, I don't know if you know this, listeners, occasionally this show likes to spread its wings and fly into the NBA realm.
We also, the timing of our show, breaking news happens a decent amount, between 6:30 and 7 p.m.
You can't do a news dump whenever we're on the air, baby.
Yeah, it's just a time of breaking news. Not always breaking news, but there are enough breaking news.
Was Shaq just went through a table?
Yeah, Shaq is apparently on AEW, which is American Elite Wrestling. That's what that E stands for. It's American Elite Wrestling.
So apparently Shaq was just very good in wrestling, which is going to make my future comments about Shaq on TV last night seem even
very good
silly.
at wrestling?
What did I say?
Did you say Shaq is very good at wrestling?
I think that's what he
somebody
said.
threw him through. Do you want to see the video?
Yeah, I just saw it.
Okay, yeah. Somebody took him out. I would say he's not good at wrestling.
I mean, it looks like he's doing a good job at the sport of wrestling.
He is
at the art of wrestling.
He is doing his job very well.
Absolutely.
Yes.
He went through a
100%.
table and didn't die on impact. That to me would be a dub. I would
flinch or anything.
No,
He
He just was Shaq and got spiked through a table and survived it and looked okay doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Shaq is going to come up at another point later in the show. But the other thing that this show has happened frequently during it is we get NBA games on. Yesterday, so Beards is a Celtics fan, Rudy's a Nuggets fan, I'm a Suns fan. This has been true through many ups and downs. Currently,
Mostly
Beards,
ups for me.
mostly downs for me for how many times I have to listen to you talk about Nikola Jokic.
Leads the NBA in steals,
He's tied for the lead in steals.
which is leading.
Fred VanVleet's leading league in steals. Sorry, scrub.
Wichita State alum.
Get good.
Who
Absolutely.
won the AAC tonight.
By the way, can I throw in a crazy steal stat really quickly?
Yeah.
The NBA lead for steals is at 11. Currently, TJ McConnell has 9 at the half of the Indiana Pacers game. That's all. That's a lot.
I need you.
That's
Sorry,
a lot.
I need you to downshift twice
Hold
and
up,
then
hold
bring
up,
that back
hold up.
around again.
Okay.
I missed
The
something.
current lead all time for steals in a game is 11.
In a single
only
game.
11?
In a single game.
Okay.
TJ McConnell, backup guard for the Indiana Pacers,
Yeah, played at
has
Arizona.
9 at halftime.
Wow, that's a good stat.
That's pretty
Yeah.
good.
yeah, it's a pretty good stat.
I'm a little surprised at 11. It's not because like again, 11 steals is a lot of steals. I just figured like somebody would have had some like 18 steal
Looks like
game.
Loser just came out of the bucket in
You know what I mean?
transition.
Just like some crazy. You know what I mean? Because there's like usually always somebody who has just like a crazy number out there. Now
Yeah.
odds are like
I kind of thought there'd be a
Kendall,
15.
Now,
Kendall Gill is the leader all time.
my guess is like
At 11.
Wilt Chamberlain had like 25 steals in a game. They just probably weren't keeping track of steals back then. Because you know Wilt Chamberlain basically has every record. Like it's wild his numbers.
Oh, it's insane.
yeah.
I don't want to talk about.
The most blocks in a game I'm
I-
currently pulling up, I think, is 17.
I don't want to talk about Jokic or Wilt at all.
Elmore Smith.
If I can help it.
There we go. We're done. That was my stat. I'm done.
And again, it was actually probably
It's a good
Wilt.
stat.
It's just they didn't keep track of blocks, I believe, also when he played.
No, they didn't.
Yeah.
There's
like,
some- there's
Wilt's
rough-
probably got all the stats.
There's rough data on how many
Yeah.
blocks like Wilt and Bill Russell had, and the numbers are insane. I've found those before, and they're legitimately like 20 blocks in a game.
Oh,
Numbers.
it makes sense because they're aliens from another planet, and they were blocking shots from guys who were also selling you insurance on the weekend.
from Jim Boeheim.
No, that was the
I don't
George
know.
Mikan era.
I don't know if you saw his quotes where basically he was asked a question. He said, "I'm just a 5'2" guy. I'm not allowed to have opinions about Syracuse basketball."
Who said that?
Jim Boeheim, the head coach of Syracuse basketball.
He's not 5'2".
He said he's just a 5'2" guy who's not allowed to have opinions.
There's no
or
chance
maybe
on
he
planet
said maybe
Earth.
maybe I
What?
read that wrong. Maybe he was calling the reporter a 5'2" guy.
Jim Boeheim is 6'3".
I bet he was calling the reporter a 5'2" guy who's not allowed to have
You
an
were
opinion on
13 inches
basketball.
off on the height of Jim Boeheim.
Again, I just saw a quote. That's all I'm saying. I'm not. My whole point is, it's not actually how tall Jim Boeheim is. It's just like Jim Boeheim just.
Why are
went
you
off on
calling
a
Jim
fi-
Boeheim a short man?
I'm not calling him. He went off. Yeah. So
Oh my God, Mizzou's,
Do you want me to bring this
Mizzou's
back
up
around?
2.
Shaq had 15 blocks in the game.
I just want to get my Suns Lakers take off and my refereeing take off.
There, go for it.
But also at this point now, I feel like we need to. Well, I was gonna say we need to see the end of how Mizzou Florida goes, but Mizzou has the ball up to 43 seconds left.
We can talk about that when the game's
So.
over. We can continue doing our thing.
I might need some time to spread
our
my wings
thing?
and set this up. The issue is that we're like towards the time we usually should be taking a break.
what's our thing? That's what I'm still trying to figure out.
That's a good question. What is our thing? Is our thing 97 topics in the first segment? Because honestly, we did that today.
A lot happened.
A lot. Absolutely.
Did you see it was the 4-year anniversary of the Switch?
No, I didn't.
Yeah,
Really?
Today was the 4-year anniversary, and Bloomberg has just dropped a report that a new Switch will come out before Christmas.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Mine's still
It'll have
working
a
fine.
4K output, OLED screen,
Really?
7 inches instead of the 6.2.
Nothing wrong with 6.2 inches.
Yeah, it's perfectly average. Like, that's a good. That's a good size.
that's a large
That's
screen.
That's a large screen.
Yeah, for a handheld?
Yeah.
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 Nothing wrong with 6.2 inches.
Nothing.
This has been
But
a very.
7, though.
Listen, Beards, we can't. Not all of us can afford that. Okay. For Christmas, this has been
I
an
got time to save up,
accidentally.
man.
This has been an accidentally very phallic hour of this show.
Do you think there's gonna be? I'm gonna have to wait for like the Shining Diamond edition or like the Pokemon Legends edition of the new
I'm
Switch.
never
I'll
gonna
buy
get to talk
that.
about Devin Booker.
I thought you were trying to kill time. That's my bad. I
No,
was
it's o-
legitimately
no,
just trying
no,
to kill
it's-
time.
No, it's okay. That was it. Listen, much like the 6.2-inch screen, that was a good sized topic for that sort of pocket of airtime that we had left.
Thank you.
Logan on Twitter says the new Switch will have a 720 DP when it's not docked. What is the current one at? Do we know? I imagine it's less than that. Also, what's the difference between 720p and 720 DP? Is that a typo or is that a real thing?
That's a good question.
Find out on the other side of the break when we'll have the final score from Mizzou, Florida, and we'll know what the current resolution of the Switch screen is.
DP is Diamond Pearl.
No.
It's the Pokemon game.
No.
720 Pokemon, basically.
No.
That's what also it's 720 Diamond Pearl and then versus 720 Pokemon.
Mizzou just went up 4 with nope.
I think that's it. Also, I'm pretty sure it was a typo.
Oh no, did they call it an offensive foul? They call it an offensive foul in Tillman? Oh no. What happened?
It was definitely a typo.
What's the current
the current resolution of the Switch?
Yes. What are the rules on play-by-play? Can't do it, right? Not gonna do it. I feel like now I'm afraid.
Do it a lot.
Oh, Curtis just tweeted the word disaster with no other context. Oh, they called that. They must have called that a push off on the floor there on Tillman. Oh no. All right, Logan said DP is a typo.
Yeah.
4K when it's docked.
Yeah, 4K when it's docked.
720p handheld. What is the handheld of the current Switch?
I mean, it says multi-touch capacitive? Yeah, capacitive touchscreen, 6.2-inch LCD screen, 1280 by 720.
So maybe the handheld resolution is not going to change,
video output
but the docked resolution
The video
will change.
output is up to 720p.
Oh my God, Mizzou has absolutely barfed this game away again.
So the video
had 23 blocks in the game.
The video output when you're on a TV is up to 1080, which doesn't obviously means you won't always be at 1080. And when it's in handheld, it's up to 720. The new Switch is basically saying it will always be at 720, and when it's docked, it'll be 4K.
8 blocks, 55 rebounds?
Let's take a break.
Want more Almost Entirely Sports? Watch the show live on the Sports Radio 810 Facebook page.
Hey, it's former Jayhawk Greg Gurley. Kansas fans and alumni are in every city and state we play. If your favorite Jayhawk fans are missing home, send them some Joe's KC barbecue. Nothing beats home court and championship barbecue on game day. Joe's will ship anywhere in the U.S. It's easy to reheat, and it tastes just as good at home as it does at Joe's. You can ship all of Joe's favorites, like ribs, brisket, burn ends, and even the famous Z-Man. Ordering is easy, and it's just a few clicks away at joeskc.com.
The Open Season Sportsman's Expo Series is headed to the Overland Park Convention Center Friday, March 12th through Sunday, March 14th. The Kansas City Open Season Sportsman's Expo will be filled with the latest products, gear, and equipment for hunting, fishing, and outdoor enthusiasts. Attendees can meet industry insiders and celebrities, attend educational seminars and demonstrations, test out the newest products, shop for special show deals, and bring their deer to have it scored in the Trophy Deer Contest. For information and tickets, visit OpenSeasonExpos.com.
March Madness is on its way. Sports Radio 810 is your exclusive home of Championship Week, with live coverage from downtown at T-Mobile Center of the Big 12 Championship, plus live championship games from around the country, including the SEC, Pac-12, Big East, and the ACC. And we'll wrap it up with Selection Sunday and our exclusive bracket special. Your home for March Madness. Sports Radio 810, WHB.
You hear all the time about Diamonds Direct's prices and selection and warranties. All true, and all good reasons to give us a visit. But what really sets Diamonds Direct apart is something that's hard to put into words. But you will feel it. You'll know it from the minute you walk in. It's our unique culture, our passion, our genuine and absolute desire to totally revolutionize the way you experience jewelry shopping, with a laser focus on celebrating your special moments. Every associate, every receptionist, every jewelry craftsman, every single person at Diamonds Direct shares this DNA, this overwhelming desire to exceed your expectations, to honor your trust, to revel in your moment, to make your experience truly magical. This is not a mission statement written on our wall. This is the essence of who we are. It's what drives us every day. It's why we do what we do. Diamonds Direct. Your love, our passion. For real. At 119th and Row.
Hi, I'm Fred Ramsey. And I'm Mark Tobin. Hey, folks, if you're not busy Saturday mornings from 6 to 7 a.m., well, I hope you'll join us for the Midwest Outdoors, brought to you by Reed Chevrolet St. Joe.
Join us and our expert guests, and we'll be talking about hunting and fishing, dog training. We'll give you tips, pass along stories, and most important, share some laughs along the way.
That's right. We cover it all, from crappie to waterfowl, and we'll tell you how to cook it, too.
The Midwest Outdoors, brought to you by Reed Chevrolet, Saturday morning, 6 a.m. to 7 a.m., right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB.
This is Almost Entirely Sports with Joshua Brisco.
Cleveland State has a coach named Dickie Nutt. And I'll now move on to another topic.
On Sports Radio 810 WHB.
All right, Mizzou has escaped with their live 72-70. They got a bucket. Drew Smith got a bucket right at the end there, and Florida called a timeout. They nearly got a decent three-point look at the end there. I think it may have been dead ball before that ball left his hand.
I think it ran out of time.
Yeah, but that's still not a bad look though. But
no,
yeah.
they just ran out of time. He missed the shot also, but I did because I'm kind of looking at a TV that has. Not 4K resolution.
Yeah, you saw a guy who was wide open get a three off,
and that was not a tough. Yeah. That was not an easy layup for Drew Smith right there. That was a acrobatic effort. So Mizzou survives Florida. As I have tweeted, I will say it now. I will make this joke now in the audio medium where it makes more sense anyway. MIZ. Whoo.
I think
that's just exhale. Mm-hmm. It's just exhale.
If I had to adjust the tweet, I think I might have done the M-I-Z and all.
Z-O-Woo. M-I-Z-Z-O whoo.
Not necessarily. I was just going to say M-I-Z like in all caps, where it's like M-I-Z. Whew.
I should have gone M-I-Z-Z-O whoo. That would have been.
Weird.
Can you cut this?
Honestly, that would have been great. It would have looked weird.
Yeah, I should have said M-I-Z-Z-O woo.
Hang on. I got a good idea.
No, don't restart the segment.
The M-I-Z.
Please don't restart the segment.
There needs to be.
No.
I think there needs to be enthusiasm though in the M-I-Z. Right? Like it's like, yeah, M-I-Z and then Z-O. Whew.
You keep saying whoof though. Whew. There's no F anywhere in Mizzoufi. It's not. There's no F anywhere in there. Whew. Anyway.
M-I-Z-Z, oh my God!
That's what happened. That's been, most of the time has been M-I-Z-Z, oh my God.
That's a good one.
Can I talk about the NBA game last night a little bit now?
Yeah.
Maybe.
The prime.
I forgot to watch that video, by the way.
That's fine. We'll play the audio in a little bit. It'll be awkward. I'll try to explain it to an audio medium. There has been a number of existentially dreadful Twitch comments from Mizzou fans watching the show on Twitch. I understand. I legitimately, I'm more or less unbiased, I guess. I don't know. As I've said multiple times, I want the local teams to be interesting and good. Mizzou's been interesting. Mm-hmm. They've sure been interesting. I appreciate them for that. But I'm happy for you, Mizzou fans, although as JT on Twitch says, it's not good basketball. And that's true. It's not good, but it is stressful.
It's not bad.
Which might be the worst of both worlds.
I've seen bad. It's not bad.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's good.
Yeah, it's not bad because it's successful enough. But it's also not fun. At the very least,
Certainly
it's not fun.
Well,
fun,
unless you find
I'm never
like,
going to talk about this mother bleeping game.
Fun.
What were you? Go ahead.
Unless you find ripping your hair out of your head fun.
Got it.
Then it's fun, sure.
You know what was fun though?
Watching Devin Booker get ejected?
Kinda. Sort of. Maybe.
Watching Devin Booker's sons avenge their fallen dad?
Yes, that was fun. Watching the revenge of Devin Booker's sons was in fact remarkable. So last night we got the AES sweep last night. Nuggets won, Celtics won, Suns won. Everybody was happy.
Oh, boy.
I don't know how many times that's happened on like a night where we've had a show, but it hasn't been a lot of times, I would guess. Obviously, they don't always play the same night, whatever. All three played yesterday. All three won. Love to see that. But we ended up, I don't remember exactly how long after. We were probably here an extra 10 or 15 minutes after the show. We watched the first half of the game after the show here last night. And it was just shaping up to be a very good, fun basketball game. As a Suns fan, I am still learning what it even feels like to genuinely enjoy watching your basketball team in a non-masochistic way. Because for even whenever, like even the last couple of years, even last year in the bubble, it was a little bit masochistic because it was like, look at how great Devin Booker is. They're undefeated in the bubble, and what? They're still not going to get in? Why are we even here? What are we even doing? In years past, it's been, man, look how great Devin Booker is. He and Dragon Bender together are going to be unstoppable.
Alex Len!
Let's go!
Speaking of which, it's no longer the last Dragon Bender, because I don't know if you saw that Nickelodeon announced there's going to be a Dragon Bender universe that they're making.
Is that true?
Yeah. I mean, it's an Avatar
Is
Avatar universe.
Is the phrase Dragon Bender?
No, but it's Avatar, the last Windbender, so it's Avatar.
His name's not Dragon Windbender.
But it's Dragon Bender. It's not Windbender, it's Dragon Bender.
His name's not
Wind. Dragon for Wind.
The former number 4 overall pick's name is not Windbender.
Yeah, yes, but you're replacing Wind with Dragon.
But the Airbender was already a thing.
But he's the Dragon Bender because he's not an Airbender. That's the thing.
He's still the last Dragon Bender. There are no more. Am I going to get to talk about this Booker rejection or not?
No.
Anywho, I love Devin Booker. And so the first half of the game was fun. It was shaping up to be a very fun game. There was no... actually, you know what? I was going to actually try to set up for you guys to fight me on this bit where I was going to do a whole thing about how the Suns, even with that Devin Booker, beat a fully healthy, fully locked and loaded Lakers team.
Was Anthony Davis playing?
No, and neither was Kyle Kuzma, and that isn't important.
And
Kyle Kuzma part's probably not important.
I
don't think Marcus.
I don't think Gasol was playing.
Never heard of him.
I think there may have been another relevant name. You know who was playing though? KCP, and he was great for the Suns last night. For a long time you got some good LeBron moments. Booker was getting a lot of attention from the defense and apparently also from the referees. And Chris Paul wasn't scoring a bunch. This is for me talking about just how much I'm enjoying being a Suns fan right now. Like Mikal Bridges is a legit dude, and he's been a blast to watch this year. DeAndre Ayton has his stretches, and sometimes those stretches are infuriating, and sometimes they're a blast. Chris Paul's a blast. Devin Booker's a blast. I love Jay Crowder. He looks like a linebacker who will. I think the first points of the game last night might have been a Jay Crowder 3, and just watching him shoot threes is funny to me, like watching Dario Saric shoot threes, who I also love. The role players on this team are fun. It's so good. Being a Suns fan right now is the most fun it's been since the head coach of the Brooklyn Nets was playing for them.
And the assistant coach of the Brooklyn Nets was playing for them. And the assistant coach of the Brooklyn Nets was coaching them.
Yeah, sorry, I forgot. It's Stoudemire is the assistant coach now, right?
Yeah.
With the Nets?
Yeah, he's on the Nets. He might not. I think one of him or Mike
D'Antoni's the assistant.
Yeah, one of them is like not an assistant. They're like a player development person.
I think Stoudemire's
the player development.
I think D'Antoni's on the bench somewhere.
Yeah, but they are coaches. They're in the organization.
They're all in Brooklyn.
Yes.
They're all in Brooklyn, and that was the last time the Suns basketball was this fun. So it's a blast. Well, then I drive home, and as I'm like about to get out of the car, which I ended up staying in for a solid 20 minutes, just rage reading Twitter and then rage tweeting. Pretty much as I pull in, I start seeing Devin Booker just got ejected. So I open the YouTube TV app. I'm trying to catch up, and I see the replay and everything. And Devin Booker gets teed up twice in maybe a 15-second time period. The two, we now know this for a fact. One of the words that got, the word apparently, that got him, I believe the second of the two texts.
Yes.
Was a word.
The first one was him tripping. Excuse me.
Well, I don't know. This is why it's still bonkers, Beards. There was some form of tripping thing, but I went back and watched all of that over and over and over again. And I got nothing from that.
Oh, no, it was there. KCP was falling down and Booker reached out. Booker was on the ground and grabbed KCP's ankle. And
was that a previous play then?
Yes.
Okay, I missed that. I was driving. So he got teed up for that then. Fine. LeBron also got teed up, I think, while I was driving home. This game was it was a spicy, nationally televised game. I think LeBron got a tech. I think the Lakers bench got a tech. And all of this madness was happening as I was driving back. Booker's second technical comes. It's an aggressive bounce pass to one of the refs. But it's not like he didn't fling it at his head or anything. And the ref that caught that bounce pass, he gave 0 technicals, for the record.
It was a pretty vicious toss.
Can't do this right now. And so then Devin Booker, with 1 technical already in the books, pun intended, he says a word that rhymes with itch and snitch. He said bitch. That's the word.
Bitch.
We can say that on the radio.
You can.
It's a word that I'm choosing to say on the radio in this instance to point out how wild it is that that's a word that got him ejected from the game. And he gets sent off, and it even looked like at that point KCP was talking to one of the refs, like, what are we doing here? Like, is it, hey guys, we're all adults here, right? This is, guys?
See, I think everybody else thinks it's he and LeBron turning around and going, oh my God, Booker, what the heck did you just say?
No.
That's the reaction.
Somebody had tweeted, somebody from Arizona Media today tweeted that the magic word was a word that we can freely say on the radio without fear of FCC fines, which is crazy to me. But even more so, and then also like the idea that you could be an NBA referee and have your fragile, precious little heart be offended by some PG-13 words. PG-13 words.
He wasn't offended, Josh. He was thinking of the children.
He was trying to protect the children, which obviously means he was in the right.
Children.
You've got to think about the children.
They're our future. I don't know if you've heard this, but they're our future.
But you have... And listen, I think there would be an argument to make that if Booker had, if he had been legitimately disrespectful to the refs and 3 Lakers and then had bounced past the ball to the other end of the court, that maybe you try to swallow your whistle in that moment because you don't want to be ejecting the stars from this game that's already been heated and chippy on both sides. But to have this hair trigger that is just absolutely ready to go for a sassy word when he's already got 1 tech at that point is absolutely crazy, and it's bad for business. It's bad for the product. And you just absolutely cannot think for a single nanosecond that a naughty word is something that is going to start disqualifying some of your league's biggest stars in these big nationally televised games that have these significant playoff implications, as this game did, over something so soft. And look, if it would have been his first tech and you want to team up for it and you want to try to keep things from getting out of hand, I get it. He didn't go and punch somebody. He didn't go swing at anybody. He wasn't even bouncing his chest off anybody else's.
Do we think there's a chance?
He said the B word.
Do we think there's a chance that the referee forgot that Devin Booker had a technical?
Absolutely. I am totally here for that conspiracy theory.
Because I
think it was a different ref that teed him up the first time.
Yeah, because here's the thing: star players get star treatment, and Devin Booker and Nikola Jokic the same way, where it's like they're not getting the LeBron James treatment or anything. And I'm like, that's fine, whatever. But those are players. I just mean
I noticed it too. Don't worry.
It's the same count. Jaylen Brown as well, right? I was gonna say,
Jason
Tatum as well.
Tatum, sure.
They're stars, but they're not in that LeBron James, that James Harden, that Kevin Durant, where we really get in everything.
Right.
But they're big enough names that they don't get 2 technicals and ejected. Not to bring this about Jokic, but I saw Jokic charge a referee 3 separate occasions, and he didn't get a technical because he's Jokic. Devin Booker is absolutely in that category. I have to think that the referee was just completely, because again, I even giving him 1 technical for that.
No, you know what? He did. No, he gave him the throw. He gave him the little wrist flick.
Oh, did he?
He sure did. So I just remembered that. He sure did.
So he knew.
No, you're right.
Yeah, that's just indefensible.
I wouldn't want that to be Chris Paul. I wouldn't want Mikal Bridges ejected off of a word that is going to be said on that floor 1,000 times.
Yeah, you don't want. It's not that you want anybody to, but you just certainly don't want it to be the guys. And again, that goes and to the Lakers side, you don't want LeBron James getting ejected.
No!
For somebody. You want to see Devin Booker and LeBron James battle this out.
The time that a referee should step, and by the way, I've talked before about how difficult it is to find something that is unanimous on Twitter. At the moment, I was not just reading Suns Twitter. National media Twitter was going, wait a second, what is that? Louis Riddick was just like, what is going on here?
Twitter was just, basically, I saw 10 tweets in a row where there was like one random tweet about like maybe something
else.
It was like a video game or something. And it was just like 9 people like, wait, what?
And then what just happened to Booker?
Wait, what?
The time whenever people should be ejected from sporting events is whenever they are actively derailing the sporting event, or they have done something that is so egregious you're saying, you know what? If this doesn't get snuffed out right here, maybe we have to make an example out of this guy, there's going to be a fight later.
There are going to be problems.
And then, and listen, that whenever it happens in a circumstance like that, nobody really has a big beef about it. You swing at somebody, you get penalized. You make contact, you get ejected. I get it. But the idea that the goal here needs to be that nobody curses on a basketball floor, like, go to the YMCA. You need to make sure that fights don't happen. You don't need to make sure that Devin Booker doesn't call somebody else a mean name. And the Suns win anyway, so.
Which is
Travis Kelce gif.
Huge deal for the Suns. Like if there was some deal about this, if anybody didn't think the Suns were like a real team, like that's. I know that the Lakers had injuries.
The Lakers at full strength, no less.
You still took down LeBron James.
Yeah.
Without Devin Booker.
Yeah.
Because that team is legitimately good.
When Booker
that team's good.
When Booker got ejected, I was just ready to have just some bad basketball energy for a couple of days, and then to know that Booker was going to score 60 whenever they play next, and then like halfway through the fourth quarter, it was still happening. Mikal Bridges was still out here, just absolutely like doing his dang thing, respectfully, as is important at this point. I was so pleased to see them actually win that game. And again, we got the almost entirely sweep last night, which is very exciting for all three of us. But it's just so frustrating. Because here's one other thing. I know we got to take a break, Beards. I'll get out of here in a second. Whenever the story becomes about refereeing, that's bad for the game.
Yeah.
Just in really any circumstance. Whenever there is simply good refereeing or refereeing that does diffuse some sort of high stress, very aggressive energy, the refs don't ever actually become a story. Something just happens and then they're able to diffuse it and then you move on with your life. Whenever they rise to the point of this is confusing, this is the part of this game that everyone is tweeting about, I imagine that a grand portion of the national media today was talking about from that game. The biggest storyline didn't end up being Suns win, Lakers fall to the Suns without Anthony Davis. What's the timeline on Anthony? It was none of that stuff. It was, bro, what? Why did they eject Devin Booker? And that's not good for anybody, including the Lakers, who still could win anyway. Remember last year? Remember what I called this? Remember last year? You guys remember last year? I was telling you about the Suns on the way up.
Suns?
The 8-seed Phoenix Suns, what it was last year? 8-seed Phoenix Suns. 2-seed Phoenix Suns. Oh, listen, Rudy, I would love a Nuggets Suns playoff matchup, but unless the Nuggets really start tanking, it's not going to happen unless Western Conference Finals.
I mean, you know who's the 7th seed right now?
Is it the Nuggets right now?
It's the Denver Nuggets.
Oh no!
We might get it.
Oh no! Get up to 6.
We're moving up.
Get up to 6.
It's a 3-way tie basically for 5th, but we're just currently sitting in 7th.
Where are the Celtics right now, Beards? What are they seated? Do you know?
4th or 5th?
I think 4th.
4th or 5th for sure.
It's the East.
It is the East.
East is better than last year than it's been. Like legitimately.
The Knicks win 2 more games than they're expected to now. All of a sudden, the East is good.
Are the Knicks currently seated?
They are 6th. Boston's 4th.
Oh my God!
That's how you know the East
Celtics
isn't
are
that
2 seeds higher than the Knicks. That's your official stance now.
The East has been good this year.
I mean, good is a good by the East standards.
The middle of the pack is much better than it's been in years.
Much better by the East standards, I guess.
Beards.
Yes.
Beards.
Yes.
Beards.
Yes.
Beards.
Yes.
Beards.
We got a break.
We really don't. Forget Sports Center, Beards. We weren't going to hit it anyways.
The Celtics are 1 game over 500. They're the 4 seed. The Raptors are 500. The Knicks are 500. They're the 5 and 6 seeds. The Heat and Hornets are the 7 and 8, and they're both under 500.
The Warriors are the 8 seed, and they're 3 games over 500.
That's how the East and the West has always been.
But so you
middle
can't
of
tell
the
me
pack
the
of
East
the East is much better than it has been. It is, though. There are better teams there.
I mean, again, by the East standards, which doesn't make it good.
Indiana's a good team, and they're 9 currently.
Are they,
Chicago's a decent team, and they're 10.
Is Indiana a good team, though?
Yes.
Are they, though?
Yes.
They're 15 and 18 in the Eastern Conference. I don't know if they're a good team, Beards.
Can we go to break, please?
The Mavs are the 10 seed in the West, and they're over 500. I just feel like that's worth. That would.
And again, the West has always been like that.
But that means the
right,
East
which
isn't
means
good.
it's better. The Mavs
Did
have
I
a
say
higher.
that the East was better than the West?
No, but you're saying the East is good, and I'm saying
yes,
the East
I did.
isn't good.
Listen, the Mavs have a higher winning percentage than the Celtics do right now. They'd be the 4 seed in the Eastern Conference at this point. And they're doing it without DeAndre Ayton, which is honestly stunning to me. They could have had DeAndre Ayton, member of the 2 seed Phoenix Suns. Egg on their face. Can you imagine how good they'd be if they had a big man on their roster? Scrub franchise. Do we need to take a break?
At JB Brisco, at Beards McFly, at Not That Rudy, at Sports Radio 810. Just do it already.
Hey, it's Lebo here for CertaPro Painters. Now is a great time to update your home. Whether it's a new look inside or some exterior protection for this harsh KC climate, there's no better place to go than CertaPro. You can give them a call at 1-800-GO-CERTA or visit CertaPro.com to schedule your free estimate. Now, they have knocked it out of the park every time I've used them. Inside my home or outside where my paint job still looks great. Their attention to detail is outstanding from the estimate through the prep work, the job itself, and especially on cleanup. Worry-free all the way. Each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated, so they're local business owners right here in our community. They do it all. Premier quality products with competitive pricing plus a great warranty. So what are you waiting for? Give them a call right now at 1-800-GO-CERTA. That's 1-800-GO-CERTA. Experience the CertaPro Painters difference for yourself. They don't consider the job finished until you're completely satisfied. It's CertaPro Painters, proven and trusted experts in painting.
If you could create your dream engagement ring, what would it look like? Come to Shane Company and let us help you bring your vision to life. You'll be delighted when you see our selection of unique ring settings, designed in-house and meticulously crafted to look beautiful from every angle, in platinum, yellow gold, white gold, and our signature shade of rose gold. In addition to the classics, we have trending styles, stunning halo designs, including popular hidden halos, elegant floral rings, intricate vintage looks, Art Deco designs, and more. For your centerstone, choose a sparkling diamond in your favorite shape, or perhaps a vibrant ruby or colorful sapphire. Our sapphires come in over a dozen colors, like cognac, raspberry, and blue-green. All our stones are natural, ethically sourced, and hand-picked for their beauty. We can't wait to help you bring your vision to life. This ring represents your love story. Why not make it perfect?
Now you have a friend in the jewelry business. Shane Company and ShaneCo.com.
Schlotzsky's has just what you need to start the new year out right. All of their sandwiches and pizzas are made with their baked fresh from scratch sourdough bread. At Schlotzsky's, they offer curbside, drive-through, socially distanced dine-in, catering, and delivery. And remember, the Schlotzsky's $24.99 lunch and dinner special for a family of 4. Any 4 medium sandwiches or pizzas with 4 chips and 4 cookies for just $24.99. Available at all 5 area Schlotzsky's. Funny name, serious sandwich. That's Schlotzsky's.
The Kansas City Mavericks are back on the ice, and fans are welcome. A limited number of socially distant tickets are available for every home game. You can also stream every game from the comfort of your own home. Visit KCMavericks.com to get your hockey fix in Mavs country at the Cable Dahmer Arena. KC Mavericks Hockey is a family-friendly destination with affordable ticket prices and free parking. Come out and cheer on the Mavs. Get your tickets today at KCMavericks.com. Go Mavs!
This is Almost Entirely Sports with Joshua Brisco.
I have a DM, no context from Michael, just says, Dick, long pause, justice.
On Sports Radio 810 WHB.
A few quick Twitch comments here on the way out of the hour here. Michael on Facebook said he liked my hat. It's a Star Wars hat. It's got the little Rebel Alliance logo. It's also got the front has the texture of the Rebel suits or whatever. I got it on eBay. So you can do some Googling and it's like a trucker hat. It's also one of just a few hats that fits my big fat head. Also, Michael said I wanted to get that as a tattoo, but my wife said it would be stupid. Get it. Just do it. It's not a stupid tattoo idea at all. It's a relatively clean little logo, connects to an iconic film franchise. My take at this point from most people is just get the tattoo. As long as it's well done, it's probably going to be fine. If it is of Patrick Mahomes pouring a beer into Travis Kelce's mouth from the top of a party bus and it's not well done, you may run into some complications.
You're listening to Almost Entirely Sports with Joshua Brisco on Sports Radio 810 WHB.
Hey sports fans, the new 810 Fan Shop has all the gear you need to rep your favorite teams. Check out our new collegiate line and get ready for spring baseball and St. Paddy's Day now at 810WHB.com/shop. You can choose from a variety of t-shirt designs and styles, premium hoodies or crew necks, and even snag something for your little KC sports fan with our new youth sizes. Looking for a baby shower gift for the MVP on your list? Check out our infant t-shirts and onesies. It's all at the 810 Fan Shop. Check it out today online at 810WHB.com/shop.
Spring is coming, so plan now to keep those bugs out with Augustine Exterminators. Now is the time to establish and or maintain a barrier around your house. Don't let it break down. At Augustine Exterminators, they have you covered. Augustine is a family-owned local business since 1966. All of their techs are certified in both Missouri and Kansas. In fact, check out their amazing reviews from all their KC area customers. They're also a Quality Pro and Green Pro company. Augustine also does carpet, rug, air duct, and tile cleaning. They have an excellent referral program as well. Refer a new customer, and you and they get $25 off their next service. That's right. Refer a friend, and you both get $25 off your next service. Shop and buy local with Augustine Exterminators. Call Augustine Exterminators today at 913-359-8627 or go online at AugustineExterminators.com. And Augustine is looking for qualified technicians. Call today at 913-359-8627. 913-359-8627.
A reading from the Golden Oak Lending Book of Mortgage Lingo. What is Zipline? It's Golden Oak's fast and easy online mortgage tool that leaves you with more time to plan a family movie night.
I get to pick the movie.
And clean up the popcorn you weren't planning on sharing. At Golden Oak Lending, we speak mortgage and love translating it. Right now, rates are at a historic low 2.5%. Visit goldenoaklending.com to use Zipline. NMLS 114937, 2.5% fixed, 2.655% APR on a conventional 15-year mortgage with 30% equity and approved credit. JLB Corporation, 8595 College Boulevard, Overland Park, Kansas.
Hey guys, Soren Petro here. Are you starting the new year right? Are you starting by prioritizing your health? It's what you should do, and I recommend going to the Low T Center. They can get everything started with an annual wellness exam where they do a comprehensive health assessment exclusively for men, making it quick and easy to take care of your health. They offer monitored, self-injected home testosterone treatment for $135 a month, self-pay. Just go to lowtcenter.com right now to book your appointment. That's lowtcenter.com. Low T Center, reinventing men's healthcare.
You know Aldi is all about saving you money, but they care beyond the carts too. That's why Aldi is partnering with Sports Radio 810 WHB to help cram the van with donations for the Salvation Army and local food banks. Stop by your Shawnee Aldi on Wednesday, March 10th from 8 a.m. until 12:30. Pick up some items and help us cram the van out front for those in need. Mark your calendars and cram the van Wednesday, March 10th at Aldi. Together, let's make a difference. Aldi. Shop differently.
Hey, this is Stephen St. John, and I've been listening to how great Nate feels after going to Stretch Zone, so I had to try it out myself, and I feel fantastic. And my wife, Susan, she's had 2 years of daily back pain, which is already feeling better after a few sessions. Stretch Zone will help you relieve stiffness and soreness, increase and maintain range of motions, and enhance physical skills. Stretch Zone is located in Lenexa and Overland Park. For more information, check out StretchZone.com.
Every weekday on Sports Radio 810, tune in to hear Kansas City's favorite local lineup. At 6 a.m., wake up with the Border Patrol with Stephen St. John and Nate Bucati. At 10, it's The Zone with Jason Anderson. Now at 2, get into the program with Soren Petro. And wrap up your day on Almost Entirely Sports with Joshua Brisco. Kansas City's hometown sports station. Sports Radio 810 WHB. Kansas City's favorite sports station, 20 years and counting. Sports Radio 810 WHB, Kansas City. You're listening to Almost Entirely Sports.
He had 2 homers, and they were both to Vogelbach of the Mariners, who is a large adult son, and he, he's so much fun to watch. Not because he's good, but he's just a big boy, and I like watching big boys.
With Joshua Brisco.
Fun. I like watching big boys hit.
On Sports Radio 810 WHB.
We'll talk to one of the biggest fans of watching big boys, David Lesky, right now here on Almost Entirely Sports. You can follow him on Twitter at DBLesky. You can read all of his analysis of all the big boys that do hit on Inside the Crown. You go to insidethecrown.substack.com. It's free, and it's excellent. You can go get smarter about baseball there. You can also still catch some work from him on Royals Review as well. And again, follow him on Twitter at DBLesky. Lesky, there's a lot of stuff that I want to get to with you here today, which is continually amazing to me simply because we're very early within spring training. But you caused some controversy yesterday. I'll start with you there. You became a bit of an enemy of this show for a short period of time last night.
Mm-hmm. I became the story. And
you did.
When you're on Twitter, you don't want to be the story. And I was the story for, 8 to 10 seconds, I think. Yeah. I think it lasted a while. It felt like a full minute, though, honestly. So I felt the repercussions of it.
So we simply have to start here. And first I have to give a little bit of context. Somewhere earlier this year, probably January, February, Rudy and I were having a series of discussions. I believe our inspiration here was Darren Ravel. And Darren Ravel had that Instagram post where he was looking for some woman who he knew when he was like 6 or 3. She was also like 3, and they were like at a pool, and he was always a ladies' man.
He wasn't afraid
really
of girls.
icky.
He didn't believe in cooties back then. He was a ladies' man.
Which was weird because they were both like 3, and so he
Not
was
like 3. They were 3.
He was like looking for her again. Now, anyway, it was all incredibly dorky behavior. And so we decided that Darren Ravel was going to be a part of our introductory class into what has now become known as the Dork Club. We shortly thereafter also inducted Kurt Schilling and Mike from Duke, as we are calling Coach K. He's no longer Coach K within the Dork Club.
Mike from Duke.
He's simply Mike from Duke. Here's the thing, Lesky. None of those 3 were able to come on the radio and defend themselves on this show, which is a way you can stay out of the Dork Club.
I mean, they could have. They just chose not to, I'd like to say.
Yeah, we didn't reach out to Kurt. The other two did not return our calls. There was a little talk last night about if David Lesky needs to be put on trial as a potential member of the Dork Club for hating on the return of Jarrod Dyson. Beards, hit the music. David Lesky, I would like to first get you on the record. Will you please confirm that you are, in fact, David B. Lesky?
That is correct, yes.
What's your middle name?
I'm not telling you that. Fine, it's Benjamin.
David Benjamin Lesky. Do you or do you not support the Royals' edition of 97-year-old Jarrod Dyson here in the year 2021 Anno Domini?
I love Jarrod Dyson. Jarrod Dyson was, on those 2013 to 16 Royals, one of the 3 or 4 favorite players of mine on that team. He wasn't the best, but he's one of my absolute favorite players, and he still is. I still love watching him play. All I said, and I will stand by this, is I'm not sure it's the best idea. I didn't say I didn't enjoy it. I just don't think it's the best idea. That's all.
David Benjamin Lesky, do you think it is fair to say that you're being a bit of a wet blanket on the edition?
I'm being a bit of a dork. Okay, I get it. I'm willing to accept that. I'm going to go to the stadium and I'm going to see Jarrod Dyson, and I'm going to cry a little bit because I'm going to be really happy to see him in a Royals uniform. He had a bad season last year.
Yeah.
And he had a bad season the year before. And the year before that.
But other than that, Mrs. Lincoln.
But if you go back to 2017, he was perfectly fine. I think that I would have much preferred it to be a minor league deal. just to give him an opportunity to play his way on the team. But look, it's Jarrod Dyson. Jarrod Dyson's fun. I love Jarrod Dyson. I love watching him play. I love everything he brings to the team. I don't know that he's demonstrably better than Nick Heath at this point, but that's okay because he's fun. And really, you might put me in the Door Club for this. I love looking at uniform numbers, and I'm really curious to see what he gives Nicky Lopez for number 1.
Wow.
That is the big story to me right now. How does he get number 1 from Nicky Lopez?
What I will say, that is a nerdy thing to care about, not a dorky thing.
Nope.
Very different. Okay. Very different.
I guess we have. I don't know if we've explained to him that nerd and dork are very different.
Very different things.
They are very different.
The Nerd Club is a great hang. The Dork Club is just you and Darren Ravel and Coach K,
and
Mike
Kurt
from
Schilling.
Duke, and Kurt Schilling.
Who's Coach K? I don't know. Who that is.
Mike from Duke. Sorry, my bad.
That's fair. I will. Numbers are a very nerdy thing, and I love them.
I love it too. No, that's. I think that may actually end up being good for your case. Here, we have to pass some judgment. Here's how the Dork Club works. Whenever all three of us are here, it's a 3-man, judging dais. And we each get a vote, and it's a democracy. It's the Supreme Court right now of the Dork Club. Is me, Rudy, and Beards. We each get 1 vote. I like to think that I should get 3 votes, but that was also voted down, strangely enough. Here's what I'm gonna say. Lesky said that he might cry a little whenever he sees Dyson out there.
Mm-hmm.
He is emotionally invested in him getting number 1.
Yeah.
He is. I think. Lesky, can I get real quick back to the stand? Do you think that it will be cool to see Jarrod Dyson in a Royals uniform in 2021?
It will be incredibly cool to see, especially, if I get to go to opening day.
Yeah.
To be able to see him announce on the team. I mean, it takes a little step forward. He'll probably do something crazy. Yeah, that's going to be really cool.
One more question, actually, before I give you my vote here. Whenever Jarrod Dyson steals a base, stands on second base, and does the motorcycle vroom vroom, will that be cool, very cool, or the coolest thing to ever happen on a baseball field?
It will be, I'm not even going to answer that with one of your choices. It'll be rad.
My vote is that David Lesky is not inducted into the Dork Club for his offenses against humanity last night. Rudy Salazar, what is your vote?
David Lesky is no dork.
Whoa, Beards! Just for posterity, what is your vote?
He's safe. He's good.
All right,
yeah.
Vindicated.
The gavel has banged. Lesky, you are no dork. You may now leave the stand. I think that's our first official defense on the stand. It's definitely our first official defense on the stand, keeping you out of the Dork Club.
I'm dripping with sweat right now.
Still waiting for Mike from Duke to call back.
If we could
maybe he'll be number 2.
I would like to just continue clarifying. I'm not sure that I'm prepared to have to prosecute Kurt Schilling.
Jim from Syracuse might be joining shortly.
Jim from Syracuse is making a push. That dude has some dork-like behavior. And if Darren Ravel wants to call in, he can wait on hold for a little bit. We'll see if we have time to get to him. So Lesky, of the things that make you think it's a little weird, or why you think maybe it would have been better off, it would have been a minor league deal. We talked about this last night. Last night I was straight up copying off of your homework, looking at Inside the Crown as this news was happening, because you had even kind of gone back and forth between Nick Heath and Edward Olivares, like trying to figure out who that next outfielder is going to be and who has the higher ceiling. And Dyson is significantly older than both of them, and it seems like he probably is taking one of their roster spots. Do you think that's fair, and what do you think the implications of that are?
Well, so it kind of depends on how many pitchers they take with them.
Fair.
And I think, so I'm not 100% clear on this, because before last season, before COVID and everything, the 26th man was added to the roster, but the rule was you could only have 13 pitchers. You couldn't, that was the max. I've seen so many projections on so many teams with 14 pitchers that I'm kind of assuming that's not happening this year, which is probably smart with, the limited innings from last season and all that. So assuming that the Royals take 14 pitchers, yeah, I think he takes a roster spot from one of those two. If they do 13, if they take 13 pitchers from spring training, you still might see. You probably wouldn't see Heath. I think Heath is the one who loses out, because they're, left-handed hitting speedsters who play center field. That's kind of redundant to have two. Now the Royals, They really like redundancy on the roster. if the last 15 years is any indication, so we could see them both, I guess. But I think if they go with 4 bench players, you could see Olivares, who's had a nice start to spring, all 3.5 games or whatever they played. You could see Ryan O'Hearn, who Mike Matheny has a bit of a man crush on, I think. Maybe even Ryan McBroom, who was really good at times last season. So if they have 4 men, I think you could see Dyson not necessarily take one of those spots. But I just have this hunch they're going to take 14 pitchers. And if they do, the bench is going to have to be Cam Gallagher, Dyson, and Hanser Alberto, I think. And so there's just no room for anybody else. Now, from a development standpoint, I don't have a huge issue with the Royals saying we want Olivares and Heath to play every day. Now, there's a bit of an issue because AAA got pushed back a month. I think it was yesterday. So, that changes things a little bit because they won't play every day until May when the season starts in the minors. So that's something there. But that doesn't bother me so much. The issue I have with Dyson, I wonder a little bit if he was hurt last season and didn't say anything. Because I'm sure you talked about last night, the sprint speed, it dropped 1.5 feet per second, which is a really, really big drop. It doesn't seem like that much just to hear that. 1.5 feet, no big deal. But, I mean, he was 28.4 feet per second in 2019 and then 26.9 in 2020. It could be age. He's in his age 36 season coming up, maybe age 37, I can't remember.
Yeah, I think it's 37.
But, so he's, for a baseball player, he's getting up there. But I don't know. That just seems like a really weird drop because I looked, he was between 28.2 and 29 feet per second for the last 4 years. And then all of a sudden is down below 27. I don't know. That just seems fishy to me. So, look, maybe he hasn't lost the step that the numbers say he has. And he was just battling something. I mean, he had a core injury in 2018, I think, and had surgery for it after the season. So, I mean, there's possibilities there. And I'm curious enough to see it. But if he doesn't have that elite speed, I just don't know what purpose he's serving other than getting Nick Heath and Edward Olivares every day at bats, which if that's the only purpose, I mean, maybe that's not the worst thing. But, if his value is in his speed, and if it's not there, I just don't really understand the spot. But look, like I said, I'm really excited to see him in a Royals uniform. So I'm willing to hope that he can regain some of that at least.
It's going to be his age 36 season. He'll turn 37 in August. So just bookkeeping there.
Yeah, I'll forget that next time we talk to him.
Yeah, no, I learned that last night and forgot about it by now. So I mean, that's literally how it's working here. So I feel like the answer here might just be that the Royals think that his speed is at the very least not what it was last year, which them continuing to make bets on guys being better than they were last year would, I guess, be pretty in character at this point. But if I had to make you guess, like what the conversation was in the Royals front office before pulling the trigger here, what do you think is the optimist's view, or what if I had to make you make the case back on the stand again for this move, what would it be?
Well, I mean, I think if you look back to those teams when they were winning, and Dyson was a big part of that, even as a bench player, he was a clubhouse leader. He was a catalyst. And I think that who they've brought in, Mike Minor is a pretty stoic guy. Carlos Santana, I think, is, maybe somewhere more than that, but he doesn't seem, maybe I'm wrong, but he just doesn't seem like that vocal kind of leader. I don't know who Whit Merrifield is, sort of that, I guess, but not. He's kind of Gordonish, and then he talks more, but I don't feel like he's necessarily that rah leader type. And I mean, they've got Salvi, which he's got enough energy for a handful of teams at once. But I think adding Dyson to the clubhouse was probably a big part of it. I do think I put my roster projection out yesterday, which the Royals just peed all over, and I wasn't going to say peed, and I realized we're on the radio.
You can say pissed. You can say it's 8 o'clock. You can say piss.
Yeah, that wasn't what I was going to say either.
Well, then thank you. Then thank you for your filter.
Yes, I don't want to get you any fines.
I appreciate that.
But I think that they wanted a left-handed bat to pair with Michael A. Taylor, just because it's, if you're going to have a guy who maybe isn't the best regular, it's probably a good idea for his backup to be the opposite hand, so you can sit him. It makes some sense in the rhyme or reason of when they sit and when they play and all that. So I think a left-handed bat who can handle center field, and look, I think being a fan favorite probably played into it a little bit. It's not, like they're not going to have 38,000 seats available, at least to start the season. I would assume. I hope not. And get as many people there as you can. I don't know if Jarrod Dyson necessarily sells any tickets or anything like that, but look, it never hurts to have somebody that the fans like come in, and if you think that he can be that catalyst on the bench, give you some good defensive innings, sit Michael, let him sit for a couple days against some tough righties or whatever it is, then I think that's probably where they came from. And like you said, they're hoping that 2020 was a blip and not a decline, not the beginning of a big decline, which who knows? We really have no earthly idea. It's just such a weird year. There's so many things that you're like, well, yeah, this was bad, but, and then there's 94 reasons why it could have been bad that wouldn't carry over to 2021. And I think they're hoping that Dyson is one of those 94 reasons.
I wanted to ask about the roster projection because, again, I was glad that it came out before the Dyson deal because it lets us see how many moving parts that this ends up impacting. But obviously, we've covered the Olivares and Nick Heath and what the numbers of the pitching end up doing and all of that in terms of where Dyson's roster spot ends up going. But did anything else from your roster projection this time through from version 1 to version 2 change in a significant way, or does now Dyson impact anything else?
No, well, my first projection, I had Ryan O'Hearn on the bench, and I had a 13-13 split, pitchers and hitters, and I thought about that, and like I said, when I was looking around seeing, I haven't really, maybe I've just missed it, but I haven't seen anything saying it's not 13, but I also haven't seen anything saying it is 13, so I kind of decided to go with the majority and give them an extra pitcher, and so that cost Ryan O'Hearn, which no big loss. But
jeez. All right. Sorry if Ryan O'Hearn's family is listening to the radio show tonight.
I deeply apologize. I'm sure he's a great guy. I
like to always, every time somebody says I'm sure he's a great guy, I like to remind them we don't know that. He might be, but we don't know that.
Well, I'm not even sure he's a great guy, but you got to say that. If you just insult the guy's playing ability, I've got to say I'm sure he's a great guy.
That's true. All right, fair enough.
So yeah, that was the biggest difference because Dayton Moore, was it last week or 2 weeks ago when he was talking, saying the lineup's basically set and the rotation is basically set, and I'm sitting here going, well, I was planning on doing 4 roster projections in spring. So I mean, I don't know what I'm going to write this time. So the biggest thing I changed was I put Pacoda projections in the first one.
Yes.
And I put Zips projections in the second one. So it looked like it was something different.
I've seen Zips a number of times this offseason. I've just been too afraid to ask for clarification as to what makes them different and what that means. So maybe this is the moment that I just admit my ignorance and you can explain Zips to me because I do not understand it.
It's Dan Szymborski from Fangraphs. Actually, he started it years ago. Used to post them on Baseball Think Factory, which is, I don't even know if it's still around, but I used to go, people post like a message board almost that posted articles from everywhere. And people could post their own stuff. It was actually a really cool site for what it was back 15 years ago or whatever.
Well, I just went, you can go to baseballthinkfactory.org and it looks like it looks like it has not changed the layout a lot.
I'm sure it hasn't. But yeah, he built this projection system. I mean, it's no different than Pacoda, except for that it just values certain things maybe a little bit differently. I like the projections because there's Zips, there's Pacoda, there's the Steamer projections, there's the Bat projections, and they're all, for the most part, you're going to look at a player and go, okay, well, his projection's pretty much the same across the board. And then there's the random person. There's the random guy that you're like, okay, everybody has this pitcher at a 3.3 ERA, and then this one's at 6.7. What's going on here? And so it's just the way the algorithm works, basically. I don't know beyond that. So I'm giving you the best answer I can possibly give you, and you're going to have to deal with that.
That's fine. I can give that answer now to other people, and I'm going to sound like I can just be like, hey, yeah, there was this baseball forum, and anyway, it's a projection system. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool, that's fine. How is it different? I don't know. That's not important.
It
just is. Very loud sirens outside. We've gotten some really fun sort of external noises the last few shows. We've cracked the door open because it's nice weather outside, some fresh air, and occasionally some very loud sirens very quickly.
The South Johnson County hoodlum.
Yeah, it's a mess out here. It is bustling. You also wrote a piece on Inside the Crown about some prospects who could debut in 2021, and it didn't include Bobby Witt, and that concludes my question.
Hey, he was in the article for you.
Yes, I saw. I felt like you were writing to me with. I know you were hoping for Bobby Witt here, you big dumb idiot, but he's not going to be here, so bleep off. Oh, wow, that was very direct and very rude, Lesky.
I put your name in there. I don't know why you didn't do it to anybody else.
It was just very aggressive.
I'm sorry. I apologize. I just wanted to make sure you saw it.
I did, and it really hit me. But of the guys, the 5 guys you did write about, 3 pitchers, a couple of bats that you also really did your best to talk yourself into the guy from The Dark Knight, but it didn't really fully happen. We've talked about the pitchers a lot, though. So tell me about your worked up hope for Lucius Fox, I guess, and then also Kyle Isbell.
So Lucius Fox, basically, I wanted to have 5 players in there, and
Bobby Witt would have been too easy.
Way too easy. It was I thought about Sebastian Rivero, who's the catcher they added to the 40-man roster back in November, because catchers, there's so many injuries with them, they go up and down. He seems like a guy who could see some time, but I ended up on Lucius Fox just because I feel like he's really a post-type prospect. I mean, he was a top 100 guy a couple of years ago, and just hasn't put it together because we've seen it quite a bit in Kansas City, unfortunately. The guys who just aren't strong enough to get bloop hits. And the reason is, we've talked about this a lot, I feel like, outfielders don't play deep enough. So because they don't have to respect any power, the ball will never bloop in because they're playing like 12 feet behind the shortstop. And Lucius Fox has had that issue. But what I've heard from a few different people is that things clicked for him at the alternate site last year. Now, that's really, really easy to say because there's no way to prove it. I mean, there has been, I've got something coming out tomorrow that goes into this a little bit, but there's been tons of talk about Nick Prado as an example. It feels like an organizational plant for Prado that they are talking him up the way they have been. And I kind of felt that with the Fox stuff about how, if somebody tells you that something clicked and you have no way to verify that, don't trust it. It's just, but at the same time, we don't have anything else to go by. So I'm hopeful for the Royals' sake that it did click, because he's a guy who can play middle infield really well. He's fast. He's also quick. He could probably play outfield. I'm not sure if he has, actually. So he's the role that Eric Mejia has played poorly over the last couple of seasons could go to Lucius Fox this year because he's on the 40-man roster. And that's why I included him there. I think that he's a guy who could very easily see time. And the thing about him is he's got a decent eye. And so he'll work a few walks. And even if he's only hitting 240, he'll still get on base about 310 clip, which with his speed can be useful. So I think he's got a shot to be on the roster at some point. But yeah, I wasn't very inspired by it. So I think I spent more time talking about him to you than I did actually writing in the part about him.
No, you did, and I was just thinking, I wonder how many players within the Royals organization you could talk for 5 straight minutes about if I just said, hey, tell me about just this dude. Because I feel like it has to be a remarkably long list, because I just learned more about Lucius Fox than I ever hoped to know and will forget. But you just had it ready there, which is incredible. So
it's kind of like the Royals talking him up. There are certain players that I could say just about anything about.
Right.
And only a handful of people would be like, wait a minute, that's not right.
That doesn't make sense. Yeah, fair enough. I mean, I'll tell you what, I'm not going to catch you on it. Rudy might, and he's not going to say anything till the break and be like, listen, Lesky just made up a bunch of stuff about Lucius Fox, and I just want you to know.
I mean, I'll just start preparing my charges for the next time we have to go to court.
That's good.
You know, a good prosecutor does not let that stuff leak early.
That's a
you
great
hold
point.
it till you got an airtight case.
You've been
Won't make the
listening
same
to
mistake
Seth
twice.
You've been on those Seth Kaiser Zoom calls, getting that lawyer education.
I've also seen a lot of episodes of Law and Order SVU.
Also makes a lot of sense. Well, can you work up some more optimism or genuine emotions for Kyle Isbell?
Yeah, I mean, the thing about Isbell, I like him. To me, he's the guy who could actually help the Royals beyond 2021. But I think he could be up in 2021 also because I think he's relatively close. He was part of the pitcher draft class, and he was getting rave reviews of the alternate site also. But then they were also tweeting out videos of him. So it's one of those things that, to go back to Fox for a second. They talked about how much it clicks, but they never showed you anything. With Isbell, I mean, every day there was a diving catch, there was a rocket shot. And if you think back to spring training last year, he was really gaining a lot of traction right before everything shut down. I think it might have been the last game before it all went to hell. He made this amazing diving catch on the warning track. I don't know if you guys remember that or not. I'm the nerd, so I do. But
I like to think that Rudy remembers it.
I like to think I remember it too.
we'll say Rudy remembers it.
Yeah.
Because, again, who's going to know?
Yeah, that's true. Yes, I remember it in crystal. I have a poster of it above my bed at home on my ceiling.
If I saw it, it would probably jog my memory.
It was a really impressive catch. So you probably, if you saw it again, you seriously would go, oh yeah, I remember that. But he's just a good all around player. I kind of think of him a little bit like David DeJesus. He's not going to give you 30 home runs. He's probably not going to steal you 40 bases or anything, but he's solid at just about everything. He gives you a good plate appearance. I think there might be a little more power that he can tap into. But he's the type of guy who could be a top of the order hitter. I think for a couple years, he could probably handle center in Kauffman Stadium before he'd have to move to a corner, which kind of DeJesus-ish, right? He's just a good all-around player. And, to be the issue with the Royals position player prospects is he probably shouldn't be as close to the top as he is. But that's not his fault. He's a guy who I think can produce at the big league level. And I think relatively soon. I think he was going to start at AAA. Now I'm sure he'll be at the alternate site, which they're redoing for a month or so while the AAA schedule is waiting to get started. But he's a guy who I think can be a part of the next good Royals team. And guys like him you don't have to go out and get Noriya Aoki or Alex Rios, who are Royals heroes.
I would love Noriya Aoki being back also, Lesky. I just think it would also be great.
I would take that for sure.
Okay.
But you get a guy like Isbell who's on first 3 years, cheap contract, even for 4 or 5, it's still pretty cheap. He allows you to not have to get those guys, or you can get them out of want, not need, I guess.
Yeah, sure.
And I really like Isbell. I think he's one of those. I think he'll be a fan favorite and probably get overrated at some point, even though he's a good player. But that's okay. If an okay player, if a solid player becomes overrated, it's probably because the team is winning, and so I think that's a good thing.
Yeah, I think that's a good call. I'll say this. Here's a little further cross promotion. If you want to read about Lynch, Coar, and Lacey, you can go check out Inside the Crown. I'm not going to ask Lesky about it right now, but you can go read about it, and also the chances that those guys show up in the majors and expectations and all that stuff up on Inside the Crown right now. You can go to insidethecrown.substack.com. The last thing I want to talk to you about, and the reason we don't have time for that, is because I got just sort of the tip of the iceberg for some of your day job shenanigans as I was texting you earlier today about being on tonight. And I would like to get in full media res, if possible, what you would go to as your sort of go-to story to explain what some of your recent days have looked like, and also where exactly you lose faith in humanity because of it.
Okay, so for those who don't know, I work in marketing for a travel company, which for the past year has just been awesome.
Yeah.
Because Travel is booming.
Yes.
There are no issues anywhere.
None.
It's great.
Everyone's having a great time.
They're going all over the world and just having a ball. So our phone lines were just crazy busy. We reduced hours, reduced staff, all that stuff. We still haven't added people back. Still haven't added hours back. So the phones are just crazy, like constantly ringing. And so what our management team did above me is started doing a live chat on the website. The problem, I mentioned we haven't brought people back.
You did.
So,
Yeah, you did mention that.
Yeah, and so we've got me and a few other of our managers on the team. We get to handle our live chat for a couple hours every day. We split it up. One of my coworkers, my department gets 2 hours a day. I do one, she does one. It's not terrible, but it's, kind of the part of my day that makes me want to jump out the window.
It's not great.
And
it's still not great, yeah.
so
0 hours a day would be
public,
better.
Yeah, no big deal. This is a little PSA for everybody. When you get on a live chat, I would assume most are like this, and the person you're chatting to can see what you're typing before you send it.
So good.
Yeah, it's something that everybody should probably know. And so I as the world has not been kind to traveling over the past year, there are some things that have made people upset. A lot of our vacations are non-refundable. We encourage people to buy travel insurance. It's $79. It's worth it because not to get too deep into it, obviously, but when you book a vacation with us, we pay the resort with your processing fee. So if the resort doesn't pay us back, we can't pay you back. People don't like that. And, but some people are outright rude. And by the way, we also use fake names and pictures on our chat because
have to assume that. I've always assumed that.
We are not about to tell people who we actually are.
Right. Hi, I'm David Lesky, and I live at this address.
Right. Yeah. So
catch me every Wednesday on AES.
Right.
Check out my
my
Substack.
We share an account. We chat as Terry right now.
Terry, very good.
We were Delia last week.
Wow,
I like it.
Anyway, so when people are upset, oftentimes they'll just say mean things. Sometimes you can just tell they're upset, but they don't say anything mean. But every so often, and this is where I really wish I had my screen recording, you will get something typed out that's very long and hurtful. And there are expletives. There are just these absolutely horrible things that nobody would ever say to a stranger, even on like Twitter.
Right.
I mean, and some of the things are just like they're shocking to the point that I'm like, please hit send. I need to respond to this. But what ends up happening is almost every time, this is probably every 2 or 3 weeks, they type it all out, and it is F this, F that, F you. I hope you crash your car on a pole. A lot of good stuff.
Just crazy, an insane thing to say to a total stranger.
Yeah. I mean, come on. What did Terry ever do to you?
What did Terry ever do to you?
And then the best part is you start to see them backspace and backspace and backspace. And almost every time it becomes, thanks anyway. Or, thanks for your time.
Yep.
I appreciate your help.
Yep.
And every time I want to be like, I saw what you wrote. I saw that. I saw what you typed. Your brain typed those words, and I saw it. And but I can't, and I always respond with, no problem, have a great day, and that's that.
So good. Well, listen, Terry, it's been an honor to talk to you. You're one of my favorite people to chat to about all my non-refundable travel plans.
Wonderful.
That I continue to make. I do apologize for many of the rude words. But if it would have just said David Benjamin Lesky, at DB Lesky on Twitter, Substack at insidethecrown.substack.com, I never would have said any of those very rude things.
Well, maybe we should change it. Maybe I should be myself.
No, don't do that. No, never do that. No one should ever be themselves.
Benjamin David Lesky.
Ooh.
Mix it up.
That'll throw him off the trail.
Little Easter eggs.
Could I suggest? I have 2 suggestions. You could start going by Rudy Salazar, which would be pretty funny to us. But do you know how
Next
thrilled?
we're Rudy for sure.
Well, so you know how thrilled I would be if I logged on the chat with somebody and their name was Beards?
Ooh.
That one might work.
Well, look, we've got our next 2 weeks now, which is great. I appreciate that suggestion, and I'm gonna use it.
I have a few other suggestions, including some names and addresses I think you should consider. I'll tell you those in private, though.
Brisco with an E, preferably.
Yeah, with an E is fine. Bleep that guy. But no E, please leave. Please don't dox me. Thank you, Lesky. I mean, Terry.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
David Lesky of Inside the Crown. You can go to insidethecrown.substack.com to get all of the great work he's been doing covering the Royals. Just in these couple of weeks, like from off-season to spring training to now just being, like you said, like 3.5 games in, I think. Really superb work on all things Royals. And also, if you ask him for some help on deciding if it's worth buying travel insurance or not, he'll help you out there as well. Just tweet him asking for advice at DBLesky on Twitter.
Did you know you can listen to Almost Entirely Sports anywhere, anytime? Well, you can. Just search for Almost Entirely Sports wherever you get your podcasts.
Paint? No, Paramount isn't just paint. It's the #1 paint in overall interior hide and stain resistance, providing the most advanced protection in just one coat. And now you can get that same outstanding protection with our new Paramount One Coat White. This first-of-its-kind one-coat-ready mix white provides a beautiful white finish. You'll find Paramount paint exclusively at Menards. In third-party tests, interior paint claims versus super premium home center brands in eggshell sheen.
Get 11% off everything now at Menards. Savings or mail-in rebate. See store for details.
Hey investors, have you always wanted to get into the real estate investing game but don't have the money? Crossroads Investment Lending loans money for fix and flips. Locally owned and here to help you fund your real estate project. Call 913-766-2900 or go to kclend.com. That's kclend.com. Crossroads Investment Lending has helped hundreds of KC investors make their real estate deals happen. Call 913-766-2900 or go to kclend.com.
Hey, Sorrent Petro here. Guys, if you've noticed a lack of energy, motivation, and drive, it could be low T or something else like sleep apnea or even low thyroid. Schedule a complete health assessment right now at Low T Center. They offer monitored, self-injected home testosterone treatment for $135 a month, self-pay. So if you've been feeling tired, grumpy, have been gaining weight, have a loss of muscle, don't wait. Go to the lowtcenter.com right now to book your appointment. That's lowtcenter.com. Low T Center, reinventing men's healthcare.
What you doing? Designing my new 2021 Nissan Kicks Online in the Kicks Color Studio. I give each a special name. This one's electric blue, orange, red, white. I call it the gumball machine. You think it's me?
I feel like you're more of a red velvet guy.
Limitless possibilities. With over 100 million available color combinations and Bose Personal Plus system in the boldly new 2021 Nissan Kicks. Bose is a registered trademark of the Bose Corporation. Color combinations include interior and exterior colors. Customization is an available feature subject to availability at participating Nissan dealers. See dealer for details.
Spring training isn't just for baseball players. You can lose those pandemic pounds and get into shape before the warmer weather, since it only takes 40 days to lose a contractually guaranteed 20 to 40 plus pounds with NJ Diet. NJ Diet's program starts with bioenergetically personalized supplements based on your hair, saliva, and blood work. Then, NJ Diet uses DNA testing to create your ideal diet and workout regimen to help you keep it off. Don't want to do it alone? NJ Diet is with you every step of the way. You will be fully monitored by their certified staff to make sure you are burning fat and not just losing water. You'll also get the doctor's personal email and phone number. NJ Diet offers live online video consultations, and they have a location close by, right off 435 by the corner of College and Metcalf. Call 855-5NJ-DIET. That's 855-5NJ-DIET. Or go to njdiet.com and lose the weight for good. That's njdiet.com.
Warm weather is here. Spring has arrived. It's time to get that lawn back into shape. Do you want the best-looking lawn, but you don't want to have any harmful chemicals? Well, then go to getsunday.com. That's right, getsunday.com. You go there, you put in your home address, and their free lawn analysis tool takes care of the rest, all in just seconds. Sunday uses soil and climate data to create a tailored nutrient plan, so you get all the stuff your lawn needs and nothing it doesn't. Sunday is made with ingredients that you can actually pronounce, like seaweed, iron, and molasses, so you can grow better and feel better about it. Sunday explains exactly what you need, and everything is waiting right at your door exactly when you need it. All I had to do was attach the ready-to-use pouch to a garden hose and spray. It's just that easy. Let Sunday take the guesswork out of growing a greener, more beautiful lawn this spring. Visit getsunday.com/Petro to get $20 off your custom lawn plan at checkout. That's $20 off your custom plan at getsunday.com/Petro. getsunday.com/Petro.
This is Almost Entirely Sports with Joshua Brisco.
And that's where I imagine most radio shows are starting their shows today. As Beards adjusts his Dick Justice dog plush.
That's good enough.
On Sports Radio 810 WHB.
A lot of things to unpack. I also just realized during the last commercial break that there are some things that we've talked about that I honestly cannot remember if they actually came up on the show or if they were just things that we talked about during a break. Did we talk about the NBA steals thing on the radio?
Which NBA steals thing?
The all-time stats and all of that stuff. Okay.
That was the first
So
segment.
can you give us an update on that, Beards? What happened with TJ? What's his name?
TJ McConnell finished the game. He had 9 steals at halftime. The record of all-time is 11. He finished with 10. He got triple-double. It's pretty good still.
He had 9 at halftime.
Steals
the
are
rest
hard,
of the
man.
rest of the game needed to be him trying to duck under people's arms to go grab the ball and get to 12. You've got to get 3 in the second half. That is a failure in a bad game. Shame on him.
I want to pull this up because I know this
Disappointing for sure.
There have been, let's see. Let me do some math and I'll get back to you. But
That's fine. I don't really care that much. I just wanted the update.
Yeah, that's fine.
Here's the other thing. I did not know that in apparently many chats that you do online with like customer service reps or whatever, that they can read what you're typing as you are typing
That
it.
I had no clue about.
I did not know about that.
That makes sense. Also, there's only been 17 people get double-digit steals in the game. There has been much more on that on blocks. Steals are hard.
He had 9
steals are hard
at halftime, which is incredibly impressive. Here,
I'm
Beards, let me
stunned
phrase
that
this
Beards
differently.
is backing up the white guy.
Here, let me phrase it differently, Beards.
Yes.
He had 1 steal in the second half.
He did.
Boston's going
Fart
to give
noise.
up 3 first-round picks for him.
So I had no idea that was a part of the online chat experience. The other thing is that Joel Embiid is currently, what is Embiid's stat line? 10? Is that game
40
over?
40 points. It was 19 rebounds. Let me pull that back up and I'll tell you.
But they're going to beat the Jazz tonight. You said, Beards, that game is nearly over in overtime. Embiid forced overtime, I believe.
Yes, on a wild 3-point attempt where he got like a post up or whatever and then realized there's like, oh man, there's like 8 seconds left. Literally ran to the 3-point line, double pumped on the attempt, and then shot it and made it. He has, 40 points, 19 rebounds, 3 assists, a steal, 2 blocks. They are currently winning by 8. And there's 27 seconds left over the team with the best.
Clearly the MVP, clearly the best big man in the NBA.
Can I give you a stat, Josh?
Beards, there's not even really a counter argument.
I mean, Anthony Davis
I've got
is
the
hurt.
counter argument right
Davis is
here.
the best center in the league when he's healthy.
I've got some bad noises in my.
Sorry, I put that down at half again.
Yeah, there's 50% that bad noise.
Like Anthony Davis is the best center in the league when he's healthy, but he's just not healthy currently.
I would say he's top 2. I mean, right now Embiid, I think you have to at least respect what Embiid has done so far.
Sure, Embiid's been awesome.
And certainly specifically for this year's MVP categorization with Davis being hurt. And, DeAndre Ayton's just 2 years away from being 2 years away. But other than that, Embiid is clearly
you
the best.
You could put Karl Anthony Towns in there if you wanted to.
Does Giannis count?
Stinks.
Giannis is a big man.
I say I compare Giannis more to Shaq than I do a guard player.
Really?
Yes.
Weird.
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
Interesting. Beards?
Yes. Just in terms of like play style and, he's paint centric.
But Embiid is clearly the best. I mean, like if you were gonna say, if you had to cast your MVP vote right now,
what about Zion? He's kind of a big guy.
He's a big man, but I think if you're doing MVP votes right now, and especially if you're making it specifically about big men, I think Embiid's probably winning unanimously. Rudy, we are back. Rudy took his headphones off. I think Rudy thought we were in a break. Rudy, we are back. If you want to go ahead and add to the consensus on Embiid real quick.
Anthony Davis is a power forward. He doesn't even start at center for his own team.
Big man.
He's a big man.
Big
Yes,
man.
Big man. He's just not a center.
yes.
I mean,
So you
he
think
literally
KCP
does
you
not.
think-
JaVale McGee started more games at center last year than Anthony
Did
Davis.
he
That's
really?
because Anthony
Yes,
Davis
because
doesn't
Anthony
want to
Davis
play
does
center.
not start at center.
He is a center, but he doesn't want to play
not.
center.
He's a power forward.
It's the same way that like Kevin Durant doesn't want to be known as a 7-footer.
Anthony Davis is a power forward.
KD, great point, Beards.
He's actually played more time in his career at center than
Yes,
power
yes,
forward.
yes.
Great point, Beards.
It's
KD.
like-
We
it's
forgot to
like-
mention KD.
It's
Thank
like
you.
Tim Duncan with the Spurs. He started at center, but he was a power forward.
He started his career at power forward because David Robinson was there, and then later he was center.
But the point being though, he is a power forward.
What were you
not
saying
a
earlier,
center.
Rudy? What nonsense were you saying? You're saying something when Beards and I are having a conversation about the MVP of the league,
This
Joel
is a
Embiid.
stat that 100% because like Beards doesn't like analytics.
Right.
Beards is the
Just roll the ball up there and play, damn it.
Yeah. Currently, win shares, which is an estimate of the number of wins contributed by a player.
I'll tell you how I feel about that stat after you tell me the stat.
Yes. Currently, Joel Embiid has he's worth 5.6 win share, 3.8 on offense, 1.8 on defense. Nikola Jokic leads the NBA at 8.3.
Bad
Giannis is
stat,
second
dumb stat.
at 5.6.
Stupid stat. Bias in favor of Jokic.
Jokic is 6.5 offensive win shares, 1.8 defensive win shares.
Apparently, Donovan Mitchell got ejected for complaining tonight.
Oh, that's
We got a problem.
Because Stat Muse on Twitter tweeted out Devin Booker and Donovan Mitchell got ejected in back-to-back nights for complaining.
In overtime.
It was in OT.
Yeah.
That might be why that game got a little wide at the end there. Good work, refs.
Jokic also has one of the higher steal percentages among like MVP candidates.
Has Jokic ever been ejected for complaining?
I thought he was going to the other night, but Michael Malone, the head coach, stepped in and took that for him. Which is that's what a good head coach does. Phoenix might need to look at a new head coach.
Good head coach just wins the game, honestly.
Nuggets have a winning record.
7 seed Denver Nuggets, please.
It's the West.
I don't get out of bed for less than the 3 seed.
There's no excuses for that. They got to get better.
Actually, Andre Drummond has a higher steal percentage than Jokic does.
MVP.
I didn't say he had the highest. I said
MVP
he
Andre
has
Drummond.
one of the highest among MVP candidates.
And Beards is saying that Andre Drummond's an MVP candidate.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't honestly couldn't tell you what Andre Drummond's numbers are, so I can't.
If you put a gun to my temple right now and said, "Who does Andre Drummond play for?" I would probably perish.
It's still the Cavs.
Oh,
although he's not currently like playing because they sat him because they're trying to trade him or cut him or whatever.
That's
17
right.
and a half points, 13 and a half rebounds. I mean, those are really good numbers.
Yeah.
MVP.
Yeah.
He'd be at least the fifth best player in Serbia.
I mean, it's very good numbers. Jokic also leads the NBA in plus minus.
A made up stat. Plus minus. Plus what minus what?
Value over replacement player, Jokic leads.
You know what the Phoenix Suns are second in the West on? Plus minus wins.
Defensive rebound percentage, Andre Drummond.
MVP.
Player efficiency rating, Nikola Jokic.
Bad stat. Got any more?
Just trying to find like a Celtic maybe.
40 point and 10 rebound games this season. There have been 9 40-point, 10 rebound games in the NBA this year. Okay, there have been 9. 5 of them have been from Joel Embiid.
I was gonna say, is it probably largely like Embiid and honestly maybe Jokic?
Nah, Jokic was not on the stat. I don't think Jokic has.
I actually have his game stat logged up. Yeah, he had 41.
Yeah,
and
I don't
5,
see anything about
43
Jokic.
And 6, 50 and 8.
That's crazy. Beards, I don't know. Maybe
47 and
Beards,
12.
If we take a break and come back, maybe whatever weird thing's going on with Rudy's microphone will get fixed on the other side of the break.
Take the show with you wherever you go. Listen live on the Sports Radio 810 mobile app and 810WHB.com.
In these trying times, Kansas City Credit Union knows how important cash flow is in your household. With rates near all-time lows, now's the time to take action. Free up some cash by lowering your monthly car loan payment when you refinance your auto loan with Kansas City Credit Union. And as a bonus, Kansas City Credit Union will delay your payments for 90 days. Visit kansascitycreditunion.com/810sports for more information. Kansas City Credit Union, your path to financial freedom. Schlotzsky's has just what you need to start the new year out right. All of their sandwiches and pizzas are made with their baked fresh from scratch sourdough bread. At Schlotzsky's, they offer curbside, drive-through, socially distanced dine-in, catering, and delivery. And remember, the Schlotzsky's $24.99 lunch and dinner special for a family of 4. Any 4 medium sandwiches or pizzas with 4 chips and 4 cookies for just $24.99. Available at all 5 area Schlotzsky's. Funny name, serious sandwich. That's Schlotzsky's.
Buying or selling your home is a big decision, maybe the largest transaction of your life. So make sure you have a real estate expert on your side. Shannon Brimacombe and Stacy Cohen with Reese Nichols. Brimacombe and Cohen rank among the top 1% of all agents in the city, with over 100 million in transactions in the past 2 years. Dedication and decades in the business. Contact Shannon Brimacombe at 913-269-1740 and find out why Brimacombe and Cohen are moving people and moving houses.
Spring is coming, so plan now to keep those bugs out with Augustine Exterminators. Now is the time to establish and or maintain a barrier around your house. Don't let it break down. At Augustine Exterminators, they have you covered. Augustine is a family-owned local business since 1966. All of their techs are certified in both Missouri and Kansas. In fact, check out their amazing reviews from all their KC area customers. They're also a Quality Pro and Green Pro company. Augustine also does carpet, rug, air duct, and tile cleaning. They have an excellent referral program as well. Refer a new customer, and you and they get $25 off their next service. That's right. Refer a friend, and you both get $25 off your next service. Shop and buy local with Augustine Exterminators. Call Augustine Exterminators today at 913-359-8627 or go online at AugustineExterminators.com. And Augustine is looking for qualified technicians. Call today at 913-359-8627. 913-359-8627.
In these trying times, Kansas City Credit Union knows how important cash flow is in your household. With rates near all-time lows, now's the time to take action. Free up some cash by lowering your monthly car loan payment when you refinance your auto loan with Kansas City Credit Union. And as a bonus, Kansas City Credit Union will delay your payments for 90 days. Visit kansascitycreditunion.com/810sports for more information. Kansas City Credit Union, your path to financial freedom.
You're listening to Almost Entirely Sports.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for clicking this videos. I will show how to pronounce this word. Let's start. Penises. Penises.
With Joshua Brisco.
And one more time. Penises.
And one more time.
Penises. That's all.
On Sports Radio 810 WHB.
This show, and by this show, I actually just mean the relationship between myself, Rudy, and Beards, all of us in this triangle, never gets more hostile. It never gets close to as hostile as it gets whenever we start talking about NBA things.
Yeah.
Like between breaks, I don't mean to just like tease people. We'll try to bring up everything that we brought up during the break, and you'll just hear it happen in real time as well. But the commercial break conversations that end up being about how Jokic is a fraud, the Celtics play in a fake conference, and the Sun. Honestly, they haven't had bleep to say about the Suns yet, because I think deep down everyone kind of knows.
I like the Suns. Suns are
Maybe
a
that's
good
it.
team. I like the Suns. They're a good team. I don't really have
If they win a playoff series, that's going to start changing, and it's going to get very aggressive.
By far, the biggest negative about the Suns is still just the fact that they didn't draft Doncic, and like they're the 2 seed. So like, it's like again, they
I
would
would
be,
also like if Doncic
they would be
was
a
on
better
the
team if they had Doncic, but like the reality is like they're a good team.
So what was the you had a stat? You found a stat about Joel Embiid coming into tonight's game.
And it wasn't even like
no, it's an
was
important
just-
stat. This is
coming into tonight. Joel Embiid was 18th in the NBA with 39 total blocks, and then I just happened to see because it's just right above him is 16th in total blocks is Andrew Wiggins. at
Andrew
40.
Wiggins has more blocks this year, but coming into tonight had more blocks this year than Joel Embiid, and I would have gotten that one wrong a lot of times out of a lot.
And number 1 is Miles Turner at 104. That is just a wide gap.
That's a lot. Who's second?
Rudy Gobert, 97.
Jeez,
And then it really drops off. Clint Capella's third at 71. Like it's Gobert and Miles Turner just like there.
Also, as Donovan Mitchell was leaving the
Here we
arena,
go. Daniel Tease, 20th with 38.
That's
there you go.
Tice.
There you go, Celtics. No, I think it's Tease.
it's pronounced.
I don't think he's earned Dice yet.
It's pronounced whatever that place in Louisiana.
And Bobby Will is tied for 18th with Embiid at 39.
We'll get to Bobby Will Jr. later. As Donovan Mitchell was leaving the court after being ejected tonight, he smacked an empty Gatorade cooler, and it went
looks
over.
like he's out tomorrow too. Then.
And it hit a security guard guy that was sitting there.
What is it with Utah players and smacking water cups and stuff? Gobert did this a couple years ago, and that got him ejected.
Well, he'd already been ejected. This is as he was leaving. But the funny part is that he walks by, he knocks this jug farther than he expected to, clearly because it was empty, and he goes from rage of smacking a Gatorade jug to immediately going over to the security guard and holding his shoulder and be like, "That's my bad, man. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do that."
I'm so sorry,
the
man.
The security guard gives him a hand up and then a thumbs up. And is like, "It's fine. It's all right.
It's fine. Still got to squirt you out though.
We're good."
You want to guess who leads the NBA in 3-point percentage? You'll never get it.
I mean, Beards is gonna really try.
You'll never get it.
It's not Joe Harris. I know he's at 50.
He's second.
Yeah.
You'll never get number 1.
Joel
Never.
Embiid.
No.
Nikola Jokic.
No.
Devin Booker.
No.
Devin Booker's sons.
No.
Chris Paul.
No.
Mikal Bridges.
No.
LeBron James.
Weirdly enough, no Suns in the top 20.
Michael Jordan.
No. He has crazy eyes.
Adam Gase.
He has crazy eyes.
Other guy with crazy eyes. He fought a European once on his own team.
Bobby Portis?
Bobby Portis is shooting
Really?
50.7% from 3.
This show gets so bleeping weird sometimes.
Mikal
Around
Bridges,
the
though,
sports.
11th in 2-point field goal percentage.
He's been
DeAndre Ayton's
incredible.
14th. Ahead of Nikola Jokic.
He's a machine.
I gave you one.
Talk about who knows what with Harold Kuntz of Fox4 next.
You are listening to Almost Entirely Sports with Joshua Brisco on Sports Radio 810 WHB. The home of the Jayhawks. Sports Radio 810 WHB.
Here comes Ochai, 3-on-1. A lob to Mitch. Deep catch. Goes up and under. And he got it to fall. 2 more for Lightfoot. KU pouring it on.
The official radio home for Kansas Athletics in Kansas City. Sports Radio 810 WHB.
Death, taxes, and the Jayhawks winning on senior night.
Thursday, Kansas faces UTEP. Tip-off at 7 on Sports Radio 810 WHB.
Hi, I'm Fred Ramsey. And I'm Mark Tobin. Hey, folks, if you're not busy Saturday mornings from 6 to 7 a.m., well, I hope you'll join us for the Midwest Outdoors, brought to you by Reed Chevrolet, St. Joe.
Join us and our expert guests, and we'll be talking about hunting and fishing, dog training. We'll give you tips, pass along stories, and most important, share some laughs along the way.
That's right. We cover it all, from crappie to waterfowl, and we'll tell you how to cook it, too.
The Midwest Outdoors, brought to you by Reed Chevrolet, Saturday morning, 6 a.m. to 7 a.m., right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB.
What does your smile say about you? Are you happy, confident, friendly? Getting and keeping that smile takes work. Proper brushing and flossing daily, and drinking fluoridated water. Fluoridated water has been in use for 75 years and is considered the most safe, equitable, and cost-effective way to prevent tooth decay. A healthy smile means a healthy person and a healthy community. For more information, visit health.mo.gov. A message from the Missouri Department of Health and Senior Services.
Men, do you suffer from erectile dysfunction or Peyronie's disease? Has Viagra stopped working? Most ED cases are caused by plaque buildup, which causes blockages and restricts blood flow. Even Viagra can't get through. But thanks to the doctors at West Coast Men's Health, a revolutionary medical procedure is now available. Using acoustic wave therapy, this non-invasive, pain-free treatment breaks down plaque, restores blood flow, potentially reversing ED for good. And women, if your man has ED, talk to him about acoustic wave therapy and how West Coast Men's Health can help, regardless of age or medical history. Call 913-243-3200 to schedule an evaluation. Be one of the first 10 callers and qualify for the special $99 consult fee, normally $199. That's 913-243-3200 or online at westcoastmenshealth.com.
The NAIA Men's Basketball National Championship is just around the corner on March 18th through the 23rd downtown at Municipal Auditorium. 15 games over the course of 5 days as we crown the 83rd NAIA Men's Basketball National Champion. Catch all the excitement as single-day tickets start at just $20. For ticket and championship information, go to NAIAHoops.com today. The NAIA Men's Basketball National Championship, a Kansas City tradition.
Kansas City's favorite sports station, 20 years and counting. Sports Radio 810 WHB, Kansas City.
WHB, Kansas City.
This is SportsCenter.
Hello there. I'm Mark Robbins. What a terrific NBA game tonight in Philadelphia. Sixers and Jazz. Utah leading late, but Joel Embiid says, we ain't done playing.
Embiid is pushed by Bogdanovic 9 seconds ago. Dribbles beyond the arc, fakes a three, shoots a three. It's up and good. 5.9 to go. Embiid is tied it at 118.
The call and excitement on 97.5, the Fanatic in Philadelphia. The Sixers get into overtime and then pull away from the Jazz, beating Utah 131-123, and Embiid with a good night, 40 points and 19 rebounds. Right now over on ESPN and the app, homecoming for James Harden in Houston. The Nets are in the process of finishing off the Rockets. Houston will be in the midst of a 13-game losing streak. Brooklyn leading at 129-111 with about a half a minute to go. James Harden with a triple-double, 29 points, 10 rebounds, and 13 assists. And coming up on ESPN and the app after this one, Dame Lillard and Portland hosting Steph Curry and the Golden State Warriors, again on ESPN and the app. College basketball, number 10, Villanova trying to wrap up the regular season Big East title, taking on Creighton right now and leading the 14th-ranked Blue Jays 57-45 with about 10 minutes to go in this one. But Nova star Colin Gillespie out of this game, suffering a knee injury in the first half. And number 11, Florida State, with an 18-point halftime lead on Boston College. You can see that one on the ACC network.
Hey, it's Greeny, and Thursday Legendary Voices Week continues with Doc Emmerich, the recently retired, brilliant play-by-play voice of the National Hockey League. Don't miss that and much more with me. It's Greeny, starting 10 a.m. Eastern on ESPN Radio and ESPN+.
You're listening to Almost Entirely Sports.
I love the idea of having a lottery tournament where teams are competing for draft picks, basically.
With Joshua Brisco.
I would really watch that.
It would be more watched than whatever round of the playoffs it was going up against, as long as it wasn't the finals. I mean, like let's say you got a boring Eastern and Western Conference final, but you've got Memphis versus New Orleans.
No.
You're
not
including Phoenix in this?
Not in the championship game.
You're missing the team here.
Okay.
A LeBron James Lakers team.
Oh, man.
Going up against whoever.
Devin Booker.
Yeah, Devin Booker's sons for the rights to
Devin
Zion.
Booker has sons already? I know. Sorry.
On Sports Radio 810 WHB.
From all of our intra-show NBA drama to all of the college basketball results that have made headlines in these last several days, to the Chiefs entering free agency and eventually draft mode, to the Royals starting spring training, I honestly don't know what deserves to be the first topic of conversation with our next guest, Harold Kuntz of Fox4, joining us now. You can see him, of course, on Fox 4 here in Kansas City, Channel 4, and follow him on Twitter at Harold R. Kuntz 3. Harold, I don't know where your sportscast is leading off tonight, or what is exactly the headline for now. I guess probably Mizzou, since they had a game that they actually won tonight. That's pretty big news.
Yeah, since they won tonight. It's funny on the post game. They were basically saying how much. Yeah, well, we knew we were in an NCAA tournament. We knew we were there. I'm like, well, hey, they always say they don't watch this stuff, so did you? And then two, we've lost 4 of the past 5. Now we know, Jeremiah Tillman, their 5 essentially wasn't in 2 of those games because he was dealing with a death in the family. But I mean, you do have to know that, hey, you want to be playing your best basketball going into it. The SEC is not necessarily a great conference outside of Alabama, and we just saw Alabama in the Big 12 SEC clash. Or challenge, I should say. They lost to Oklahoma without their 2 best players, and Oklahoma's middle of the pack in the Big 12. So I don't like to compare conferences, but you look at the top of that league and you look at the Big 12's depth, and you see Mizzou, and shouldn't really be in the middle the way they are. They just kind of, self-inflicted wound themselves, won a lot of road games in the SEC, because who wants to travel to Mississippi on Wednesday? So it's a lot of going on for them. But now that you win a game in Florida, that's, obviously the crowds are what they are, 20-30% crowd. But, you still win a game in Florida. You got to travel essentially halfway across the country to get a good win over a good team. Things are going in the right direction for them.
One of the things that I've just been so fascinated by is just how the various local teams have all digested their seasons this year. And I'm specifically taking on the microcosm of Twitter, which I know is not actually representative of, fan bases as a whole, but I can't help myself, where KU fans got to a point where this season was just absolutely on fire at the beginning, and now everything's absolutely firing on all cylinders. Mizzou was complaining about not getting enough respect, and then now there's just been sort of this collapse. And obviously, again, a nice step tonight holding on to that game, which was by no means locked up until it all hit zero. But and then K-State fans, I feel like, have mostly just kind of gotten quiet and just they're waiting for better days, which is probably the best strategy. But what have you thought about how KU and Mizzou have ended up kind of having these opposite season trajectories, and that both of them will obviously now be in the NCAA tournament, and obviously KU's riding a little better momentum at this point?
Yeah, that's just the ebb and flow of any basketball season. I mean, you can look at any level and you're going to have some ebbs and flows. You're going to be playing your best basketball sometimes. Sometimes you're not going to be playing your best basketball because teams just figure you out. If you're in a Power 5 league like the Big 12 and SEC are, they have good coaches. They're going to figure out some weaknesses in your lineup eventually. It's how you adjust to the adjustment. And that's the biggest key about basketball, is adjusting to the adjustment. We see that in football sometimes, but a lot of times it's basketball because you'll see teams go through runs. I mean, it can't be something as simple as, like, saying, take the NBA with the Lakers. The adjustment to the adjustment is Anthony Davis is not playing. So they have no interior right now. But then, you look at Mizzou, some teams kind of took advantage of the fact that, they didn't shoot well from three. So let's get a little more aggressive with our interior defense. Let's kind of pack line it a little bit or something of that nature and let them shoot threes. And if they can't hit them, then advantage us. I mean, Florida still shot 58% in this basketball game tonight compared to 46% for Mizzou. The fact of the matter is they turned the ball over 18 times. And they couldn't get an offensive rebound or life dependent upon it, whereas Mizzou could. And when you get to a tournament where sometimes those games are not going to be pretty, it's just a matter of who can win the game, you're going to have to do the dirty things like rebound, win 50-50 balls. And a lot of times you do that more on the road than you do at home because you take home for advantage instead of a road game. So, ebb and flow of basketball. You saw KU, Bill Self himself saying they sucked for 3 weeks, basically.
Yes.
And now they're playing good basketball. I mean, look, you figure out your rotations. You figure out what lineup works best in certain situations. And it's the teams who figure that out when you're 20 to 25 games into the season who usually play well in postseason. Then you see other teams that kind of top off and don't make that adjustment to the adjustment. We're seeing both Mizzou and KU both make good quality adjustments to the adjustments. Or in Mizzou's case, kind of a kick in the rear because they got seniors on their team that should know better. Whereas KU, Bill Self is once again proven that he can make good adjustments and then adjust to when people adjust to them. Hence why they're going to be probably a 3 or 4 seed in a very difficult Big 12.
I'll just keep shifting through sports at this point because we've gotten distracted by NBA things over the course of the show tonight. There was an incredible stat that did you see the story about Terry Bradshaw's surgery back in the day?
Tom Brady, yeah.
Under the pseudonym of Tom Brady. That ended up distracting us over the first 20 minutes of the show because that's about the most if anyone wasn't listening earlier, I'll reset it real quick. Here's the gist of it. It's a story from 1983. Terry Bradshaw had surgery. He had a pseudonym in the hospital, which is a pretty common practice at the time. His alias was Thomas Brady. So there's a headline that says, Steelers, quote-unquote, Tom Brady undergoes arm surgery. That's just about the most bonkers thing I've ever seen in my entire life.
Yeah. I mean, you said it, man. It's certain things you just can't believe they're true.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you're like, yep, that's true. I mean, now, do we give did Terry Bradshaw have talks with Bill Belichick saying, you might want to get this guy because I believe he's going to be good because I named myself after I got injured one time.
It's
Who knows?
Great question.
Speculation's great, huh?
It's just it just doesn't seem possible. Like Matt Derrick had tweeted, the only way I'd be more surprised by something today is if I found out that Joe Montana had elbow surgery in 1984 under the pseudonym Patrick Mahomes. Like, it's literally that kind of bonkers. But that's happened, and then we've also got all the things going on with spring training at this point now. The Royals obviously had that trade a little bit ago for Andrew Benintendi. Last night we get the news that Jarrod Dyson is coming back. What's caught your eye from what we've seen from the Royals so far very, very, very early in spring training?
I think the biggest thing to me is that they have a lineup and a rotation this year. I mean, I don't know if you heard what Merrifield basically said about slow starts. He's like, well, Hunter Dozier's healthy and Salvador Perez can see, and we have like more than 2 starting pitchers, and like, all right, we're going to be on fire. Now, I'm sure he's kind of a little bit saying that in jest, but at the same time, we're like, okay, look, for the first time in at least 2 years, this team comes in with like, okay, I know who the starting pitchers are. I have a very good idea of, who 1 through 5 is going to stack up. I have an idea of who the lineup's going to be. I know a leadoff person. I probably know some 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 hitters. It's like, okay, it's starting to like piece together. Like I know what's going to happen. So it's like, all right, now go out there and play. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But like the last 2 years, you've been watching a team that couldn't even piece it together.
Yeah.
And now you're like, okay, at least we know what type of product we're watching. Like when you go to the ballpark, it's like, I know that lineup. I know that pitcher who's pitching today. So it's amazing how a professional baseball club can get to that point, but that's where they were. And now they are a team that you're like, okay, I know these guys that are coming in. Like I know the relief pitchers that are coming in, like the Wade Davis, Greg Hollis, Josh Stamkos of the world. Like I know these people. Like so, and it doesn't feel like it's just like a stopgap either.
Yeah.
And then you see the future. Like it's funny if you look on social media, who's the person that people talk about the most? It's Bobby Witt.
Yes.
He's not even going to see the field this year, most likely, with a Royals uniform, unless they just toward the end just say, you know what, here you go, kid. Here's 12 games.
Yeah.
So at least you have something to look forward to in the 2022 and 23 seasons. So there's more interest, and like people are pushing to watch preseason or spring training games now. So now they're like, okay, well we got to adjust now, put more games on TV. I mean, we got 11 minutes and 30 seconds of highlights from the Royals for today's White Sox.
Jeez. Wasn't that game only 6 innings? Was that the entire game?
Yeah, exactly. It was 6 innings. So it's like, okay, I guess they got the message has been received. I was like, oh, people actually want to kind of watch this, which they've got to be more than thrilled about because for the last 2-3 years they haven't had that experience.
Yeah.
So now they're like, okay, there's interest. All right, here we go. Let's watch some guys play.
I think that's a really good take on it. The thing that I find interesting, even kind of building on top of that, is that you're right. We do know pretty much what the lineup's going to look like, what the rotation's going to look like, what the bullpen's even going to look like. But also, I feel like a lot of people are still relatively they have tempered expectations in terms of what they might actually be able to do in terms of actual winning in 2021, which I think makes sense because we know who's going to be in that lineup. We also know that it probably isn't going to be a playoff roster, but also it's kind of an unusual spot to be in where we do know the makeup of this team and expectations have not rocketed it up. Do you think that maybe that should end up bringing on a little more optimism, or do you think that kind of the a little bit below 500, kind of 500 range is probably about right?
Yeah, I think whatever analytical, the Chorus system, and then there's some other analytical system put them at 71, 72 wins. I think they're about right. That's a great over-under to have. Now, if you can get to 75, even 80, then, I mean, wow. I think that exceeds all expectations. Now, if you get to 60, then, of course, that's very disappointing, and it's disappointing for them. But, the big word they've been using all offseason, really, since spring training started, is buzz. And, they've been saying buzz over and over and over again to the point where you're like, okay, I get it. Everybody's optimistic in the spring. Hope springs eternal. We get that. But there's a certain reason why Hunter Dozier said, like, this is the best part. This is the best ball club I think I've ever been a part of. Because it's like, okay, we have maybe not the Minnesotas and the Chicagos of the world, but okay, Cleveland and Detroit, they have a real opportunity here to be like, okay, we might take them for a couple games here. We get the right matchup with a pitcher and a good 3-game series, we might be able to take the White Sox 2 out of 3. We might be able to take the Twins 2 out of 3. Take advantage of their park. It's a good mix of speed. I mean, and power hitting. I mean, you had Carlos Santana, Salvador Perez, and Jorge Soler, and then you mix that up with Benintendi and with Merrifield and Alberto Mondesi, he's, fully healthy and 100%. I mean, that's 3 guys with good speed and 3 guys with power. And then you hope that, guys like Nicky Lopez and some of the others out there can round into form. So it's looking like a good situation. It's just like, it's looking better. At least and again, when you look at paper, when you look at the lineup card, you're like, okay, I can compare this. This isn't like, okay, what is this guy doing out here this year? Now it's like, okay, this is a professional lineup.
Yeah.
I'll just go out there and be professional. Which sometimes is harder than not.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, there have been so many times as of late where you find like those holes in the lineup. We were talking to David Lesky about this. We talked to him earlier tonight, but this particular part, we talked to him a couple of weeks ago about this because he did a whole thing of trying to optimize the lineup, and you end up having a lineup that looks like Merrifield, Mondesi, Salvi, Santana, Soler, Benintendi, Dozier, Taylor, Lopez, like 1 through 7 at least has a Major League Baseball player in that spot. Like, I don't know if the ceiling is going to be super high for the lineup unless maybe you get the breakout year from Hunter Dozier. Maybe you get sort of more second half of last year Mondesi. Maybe you get Benintendi and Santana looking more like their 2019 selves than their 2020 selves. But at the very least, that is a professional lineup of major league hitters that should be fun to watch and also like is relevant for the future, right? Like it's not like they've just brought in a whole bunch of veterans that aren't going to be here and we're all just still wasting time until all the guys in the farm system end up coming up. Like it should be both interesting in the short term and hopefully I would say pay off in the long term.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, you want to see that. I mean, you're only getting limited fans anyway, so you're probably going to get roughly like the 22% like the Chiefs are doing. So, I mean, you can get $8,500 in the seats, but do you get $8,500 in the seats that are entertained and involved in the process and not just and I mean, I hate to say this, the stereotype baseball crowds, but you don't get your grandma out there with the score sheet. Like she's always been there since she's been doing since a single A base. Like, you got to generate some interest. I mean, like it's a two professional sports team market, 3. With Sporting KC, but 2 that play in the same area, and 1 is like the absolute highest power of the NFL right now, and then the other one's like the lower end. Like it's you got to generate some excitement there, and I understand like there's financial difficulties, even though John Sherman has shown that he's opened up the checkbook at least a little bit by getting in a Benintendi who's 26 years old. You can't really factor in last season because he was playing with broken ribs. Carlos Santana didn't have the greatest year last year, but, he said he's better with a full season. So until now, all he can do is take his word upon it that he thinks that he's better with a full season. And then, you get Whit Merrifield, you're getting out of him. And again, it's just that 7, 8, 9, 10-day progress. I'm looking at a guy like Nicky Lopez. Can he progress? Can Hunter Dozier, we think he's a good player. He was rewarded like a good player this week.
Yep.
So, go out there and show it. They think he can. They're confident in him. So it's just really a matter of just going out there and proving it. But I think the biggest thing, they got to prove it to themselves. Because again, you get off to a 2-10, 3-13 start like they had the last couple of years, and really, honestly, since take away the World Series years and maybe the year before and after it, they've always gotten out to a slow start. The last thing that can happen to a team that has any confidence is you start 2-13. The next thing you know, you're like, oh well,
season's over.
So, I mean, I mean, it's like, well, I mean, it's not necessarily season over, but you get the feeling when you go to the stadium that the people that are watching you think it's over.
Yeah, right.
So then you just have the people in your own locker room and your own clubhouse, and that's what you want to prevent.
Yeah. You mentioned that, they're sharing a parking lot, and one of these teams is trying to create some excitement. One of them is the most exciting thing in all of sports, perhaps. And that's been reflected even just in this show. We're probably going to do 50% Chiefs, 50% everything else even through the entire offseason. And we're getting really close to free agency opening and the start of the new league year and all of that. The draft's still a little bit away, but has anything struck your eye so far in terms of what free agency might look like? Also now having to look through the scope of what we heard from Brett Veach on Monday, where he said that Eric Fisher and Mitchell Schwartz are both on track to return in time for training camp. And right now, did you buy that from Veach? And I guess how surprised were you to hear, especially on Fisher, who I don't think anybody really had that timeline on?
Well, I think, when Sam Mellinger asked that follow-up question, it was like you could just tell by the voice, and I don't know if you're watching the look of his face, like he's like, I have multiple questions on exactly where this is coming from, and then he starts Googling. You could just see, like, you knew you couldn't watch him doing it, but you could just see him like Googling on his phone WebMD or something like that. You knew it was happening.
Yes.
And then you just Brett Veach is like, yeah, let me check my notes. Yep, that's Rick says. Rick Burkholder, like, okay, yeah, sure. Like, it's like now, others that proposed, really, it's more so, okay, does that mean he just finished the building and he's ready to do some workouts and lifting and some jogging and all that good stuff? But, and yes, I called it jogging. But, yeah, and Mitchell Schwartz, I'm like, okay, there's back spasms, but what's to say it's not going to pop up again?
Yeah.
Like, look, my father had back spasms, and he was wearing a back brace for 10, 15 years. Now, granted, my father was never a professional athlete, and it started when he was 55. But the point is, it can last for a long time. So it just depends upon how the human body reacts. Now, Eric Fisher could, be a cyborg here, and his Achilles, just magically gets together. But, I mean, we've seen it over and over again. Like, look at people who tear ACLs. And they recover very quickly, but they're just not the same mentally.
Yeah.
So where are you there mentally? Like, where's the trust level? You can do so many exercises, but when you get in the game situation, where's that trust level? And that's the biggest thing they got to figure out. But again, you need that depth in the offensive line. I mean, Brett Veach was pretty revealing.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, like he was very much more revealing than you would expect from, kind of the organizational type. Yeah. And he gave away a lot. And, I mean, like, look, O-line, D-line, linebacker, we know where they're getting at. You know that, especially the line, is something they're going to get at. You know that, and we've already seen it with Golden Tate being on the market and a couple other guys just today being on the market. J.J. Watt, obviously, being to the Cardinals. We're seeing that there's going to be a lot of quality players on the market. You have to weigh now to use with this 1-year salary cap less season. Do you try to go out and get one of those guys and give them the Patrick prices I've been calling it? or I mean, it makes sense.
It's really
and then
good.
Also,
yeah.
Is like, do you give them the Patrick price, or do you give them? Do you say like, okay, we just need to develop somebody?
Yeah.
I mean, he essentially dismissed Sammy Watkins. Like, he really did. Like, he's just like. When you say, like, yeah, we're really excited about the development of Byron Pringles, like, did Byron Pringles just become the 3? Like, did he just become the 3? Like, or did he become a 4 with the idea that they're drafting a guy and they're getting a veteran in, and they're hoping, like, he basically, like, gave us the puzzle pieces to the point where, like, we got a real shot at figuring out what the moves are here. And it'll all make sense when you see the draft, I'm sure, in April, when you're like, okay, I see where he's getting that, or I see where that is. So it was revealing. It was just like, you're listening to him, and it was like, all right, like, that was the first time I was like, wow, every question came forth with an answer that is like, that can be used.
Yeah.
Like, all right, well, put your words to action now, bud. So it was pretty fascinating.
I will take any excuse possible to bring up this stat because you mentioned both Sammy Watkins and Byron Pringle. It's something that was brought to my attention by Matt Derrick on this show on Monday. Byron Pringle and Sammy Watkins are the same age, and that just seems impossible. I know that Sammy Watkins has been in the league forever. He came out super young, and Byron Pringle's been kind of the young developmental guy for a while now. But some of the timelines we do on players like that, just I am consistently amazed by stats like that one.
Oh, it's usage. I mean, look where Sammy Watkins was when he was drafted.
Yep.
Coming out of Clemson, a stud, and And look where Byron Pringle was, kind of not even really well known even in the Big 12. I mean, you knew him if you followed Big 12 closely. You knew about him. I mean, like, I was in Oklahoma before this, so I knew about Byron Pringle the same way. But you knew about Tyler Lockett a lot more at K-State. So, and Lockett, to his credit, has proved it in the NFL. Then you look at Byron, you're like, okay, this is going to be a developing process. But has he gone to the point where it's like, all right, now we're ready to throw more at you. You've earned trust. You got to earn trust of one guy on that team. We all know who that is, and it's not Andy. You got to earn trust of number 15 when you're on, because you're on the field with him. And if Patrick's saying, I think we can trust this guy, it's like, okay, then we move forward. So it's like, because Chiefs do something that is very unique that a lot of other teams don't seem to want to do. And I'm looking at Houston, and I'm looking at Dallas, and I'm looking at San Francisco, and I'm looking at Chicago, and I'm looking at a couple other places. They listen to their quarterback.
Yeah.
And it seems like, I don't know why that seems to be a very hard thing for people to do, but like they listen to their quarterback. Like Houston should have been like, all right, let's listen to what Deshaun Watson has to say.
Yep.
And now they don't, and now they're in a huge quagmire. And Arizona's essentially the Texans now. It's like, but like the Chiefs, like you go back to that when they talked to Clyde, when they drafted Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Clyde Beach said that he proposed 3 people to him, and he said Clyde. It's like, yep, I was thinking the same thing as so was Andy. But see, holy triangle, it's got to work.
Yeah.
GM, coach, quarterback, it's got to work. If it doesn't work, then you got problems. And that's what they do. But they listen to him. They was like, hey, Patrick needs this. Because if there's one thing Patrick Mahomes proved in the Super Bowl, even in a performance where he had 49 of 48, 49, and 2 interceptions and no touchdowns, he proved that it's like, okay, that guy, give him the help.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Like, he says it needs to be filled, it needs to be filled. So like, God bless him for chasing around Sterling Sky right now. That's priority number 1. I don't care what anybody says. That's priority number 1 for him right now, and it'll probably be priority number 1 for him forever. But at the same time, it's be like, he goes to Brett, and he goes to Andy's like, I might want this. You listen to him. Very simple concept.
If Sterling gets maybe a little too aggressive, whenever she's up and running around, get him. The Chiefs need to provide some, nanny help. Keep her away from his ankles. You gotta keep the franchise safe. With that in mind, like if everything runs through Mahomes, everything runs through the offense, I feel like that is honestly one of the best places to start any conversation about what the Chiefs should be doing with let's say the majority of their free agent budget, whatever that ends up being, with whoever they re-sign, with the majority of their top end draft picks. Right now, what's your inclination in terms of if they try to go get one high price free agent and early on in the draft, what are you feeling right now in terms of sort of like positional importance? Is it across the line? Is it pass catcher somewhere? Would you go to the defense? What are you thinking as of right now?
There's 2 big priorities, and they're both on the offensive end. That's wide receiver and offensive line. Those are your top 2 priorities. You might want to point to the defensive line and get somebody opposite Frank Clark, try to alleviate some hassle for Chris Jones there. But, again, quarterback-driven league. Yep. Like, I see a shift in the NFL way of thinking that's kind of reminds me a little bit of the NBA. If you got a star player, you kind of listen to what they want. If LeBron James says he needs this, you get what LeBron James needs, or LeBron James will get what LeBron James needs.
Yep.
So now, obviously, salary cap and structures are completely different in both sports because they've got a huge luxury tax that makes it almost feel like baseball, whereas football does not.
Mm-hmm.
But you do. You go to. I'll do the last answer. You go to Pat and you say like, all right, what do you need? Now, I personally think it's wide receiver. I think you need somebody there more than anything because you're looking at a situation where like Tyreek Hill is clear number 1, but McCole, he's got to develop. He's got to develop, and he's working on it. Like there's so many people that bash McCole, Hardman. Like I keep telling myself, and I keep telling them, it's like, all right, 1, you try to go out there and do it, but 2, you think he's not working on it?
Mm-hmm.
Like no professional player goes home and says, well, I didn't. Apparently the pundits think I'm not doing it right, so I guess I'm not doing it right. No, you keep working on it. But you perfect your craft. That's what they do. That's why they're paid. They do professional sports. You're not. And even better, then if you take their word that Byron Pringle is going to be moved up, it's like, all right, this is a perfect opportunity, a great wide receiver class. if you follow college football recently, Alabama's got like 4 receivers alone that can be drafted.
Yes.
Like, like Ohio State's got 3 or 4 guys that can be drafted that are receivers. Clemson's developing. Like, they're literally growing great wide receivers out of trees because with the running back, position being a little bit devalued now, and you've got guys that could be running backs. They shift to what? They shift to defensive end now, or they shift to receiver, or even tight end. So you've got great value there.
Yeah.
And like you've seen so many rookies get in. Justin Jefferson, look at the amazing year he had. He was 22nd pick. And I'm convinced that Jalen Reagor would have had a decent year if he had a quarterback that knew how to throw to him. Here's looking at you, Carson Wentz. So I mean, like you have guys who can find value. I could go to a mock draft right now and just look at the receiver and like that guy's going to be good. That guy's going to be good. And Brett Veach has an interesting situation on his hands because it's a first round pick that's late. Do you want to use an offensive tackle there? No, because look at a lot of the except for Aaron Fisher, look at the other offensive linemen he's got. They're late round guys.
Yep.
And they just developed him. You get Eddie Heck with him, he's just all right, start developing. Like there's only so many fill-ins that you get, when Eric Fisher went out, and then you're stuck with Steven Wisniewski, who filled in admirably last year, but then you quickly realized, well, there's a reason the Steelers let go of him.
Yep.
And then, you had Austin Ryder, but you also had Daniel Kilgore in there, but you had 2 true centers and not anybody that could do anything. Mike Rimmers has been on 8 teams.
Mm-hmm.
There's a reason he's been on 8 teams. Not to say he's not bad, but there's a reason he's been on 8 teams. So that's what you were dealing with. You were dealing with like Charles Barkley plays that game. Who's that guy? Because he doesn't know the guy on the Hornets bench. That's what you were dealing with.
Yep.
And as much as they thought it was a good game, like their confidence kind of got knocked a little bit by the fact that they thought, like, okay, well, we know what we're doing. We know what we're doing. And it's like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers said politely, no, you don't.
Mm-hmm.
So, and so like that, like no one wants to go off of one game. Like you can't be prisoner at a moment off of one game. Like they still got through the Bills lineup pretty solid like that. They got through Cleveland pretty solid like that. We thought Matt Milano including myself, might be like the big world changer in that game. He wasn't. They took care of him. We thought Myles Garrett might do something. He wasn't. They dealt with him. They had faced the Saints defensive line. Sure, he got hit, but they still scored 32. They faced that same Bucs defensive line, and they blew him up in the first quarter. But what we really didn't look at was the other 3 quarters where Toppol just made a quick change of, like, I don't know, double team Tyreek Hill, and then it was like, oh, we didn't play him too bad. And we never really focused on that, and it just proved itself on, the first Sunday or the second Sunday of February. So, yeah, you can't be prisoner in the moment, but you have to look at the depth in that and what you trust in that offense. And personally, I think there's so much depth in wide receiver. You go to the receiver, you go to the well for an NFL draft for receiver, and then you pick up a veteran offensive lineman. That's what you do.
Harold,
that's just that's my humble opinion.
It's a blueprint that I've got very few issues with, if any at all. I will say that I got distracted by at the end there because I just looked at Twitter and someone was tweeting about the Detroit-style Pizza Hut pizza that we've seen commercials for. And Beards has tried it, and what is alarming to me right now, you've seen this commercial many times over, I have to imagine, because it's airing during every sporting event. The picture on Twitter looks absolutely nothing like the commercial, which shouldn't shock me, but really does, because it looks pretty rough in the photo on Twitter.
Yeah, I'm telling you, you gotta stick with chicken wings, man. This is chicken wing season. Stick with chicken wings.
This is a chicken family here, almost entirely sports. So you won't get any pushback from us. Thank you, Harold. Always wonderful to talk to you. Thank you for making some time for us tonight, and we'll do it again soon.
All right, Josh. Take care, man.
Harold Kuntz of Fox4. Follow him on Twitter. Follow the man on Twitter. He's got. I was going through his timeline before he was on with us tonight, and this dude's he's got everything. Like, if there is a thing happening sports relevant in the area, Harold's got something on it. Follow him on Twitter at Harold R. Kuntz 3 and watch him on Fox4 right here in Kansas City, Channel 4. That is implied. It's also a Fox station. I don't know if that was clear by it being called Fox4, but it's Channel 4 and also a Fox station. Pretty good work by me. Let's take a break. Whenever we come back, I got some sound from TNT, NBA's postgame, the NBA on TNT postgame show last night after Suns Lakers, which is relevant to my interests. It is mostly about Nikola Jokic, so it's relevant to Rudy's interest, and it's super awkward and uncomfortable, which is relevant to Beards' interest. We'll play that sound whenever we come back.
Want more Almost Entirely Sports? Watch the show live on the Sports Radio 810 Facebook page.
Spring training isn't just for baseball players. You can lose those pandemic pounds and get into shape before the warmer weather, since it only takes 40 days to lose a contractually guaranteed 20 to 40 plus pounds with NJ Diet. NJ Diet's program starts with bioenergetically personalized supplements based on your hair, saliva, and blood work. Then, NJ Diet uses DNA testing to create your ideal diet and workout regimen to help you keep it off. Don't want to do it alone? NJ Diet is with you every step of the way. You will be fully monitored by their certified staff to make sure you are burning fat and not just losing water. You'll also get the doctor's personal email and phone number. NJ Diet offers live online video consultations, and they have a location close by, right off 435 by the corner of College and Metcalf. Call 855-5NJ-DIET. That's 855-5NJ-DIET. Or go to njdiet.com and lose the weight for good. That's njdiet.com.
If you drive a car, truck, SUV, or vehicle of any kind, you need Get Upside, the free gas app that pays you cash back for every gallon of gas you buy. That's right. With the free Get Upside gas app, you can get up to 25 cents a gallon cash back every time you buy gas. Nearly 3 million people have earned cash back with Get Upside just for buying gas.
I always use Get Upside. Some months I make $200 to $300.
I love getting money back for things I use every day. It's just free money for buying gas.
There's no catch. It's simple. And you get your cash back right away.
Download the free Get Upside app now in the App Store or Google Play to save up to 25 cents a gallon when you buy gas. Use promo code OIL for a 50-cent per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's up to 75 cents a gallon on your next fill-up. You can cash out anytime to PayPal or an e-gift card for Amazon and other brands. Earn cash back on gas on every fill-up. Just download the free Get Upside app and use promo code OIL for a 50-cent per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code OIL.
Whether you're celebrating a birthday, an anniversary, a new baby, or just because, a gift of fine jewelry from Shane Company will make any moment more special and memorable. With the largest selection of styles in every price range, finding a meaningful gift will be easy. We have all the classics, as well as new styles for spring, unique necklaces, earrings, bracelets, and rings made with hand-picked natural stones. You can also customize a gemstone pendant just for her. Choose her birthstone or a gemstone in a color she loves. We have vibrant rubies, sapphires in over a dozen colors, and a range of popular gemstones, always natural and ethically sourced. With our superior craftsmanship, your gift will be made with heirloom quality that's guaranteed for life. Best of all, it'll remind her of you. Now you have a friend in the jewelry business. Shane Company and shaneco.com.
Hey investors, have you always wanted to get into the real estate investing game but don't have the money? Crossroads Investment Lending loans money for fix and flips. Locally owned and here to help you fund your real estate project. Call 913-766-2900 or go to kclend.com. That's kclend.com. Crossroads Investment Lending has helped hundreds of KC investors make their real estate deals happen. Call 913-766-2900 or go to kclend.com.
A walk and some ice cream with someone sounds like the perfect treat.
Making pizza with someone who's as into it as me? What could be better?
Ready to meet people who love to do the same things you do? It's easy. 1, open laptop. 2, go to OurTime.com. 3, start for free. OurTime is the #1 dating site made for singles over 50. It's easy to use and can help you find people who just want to do something fun. Find someone over 50 who loves to do what you do on OurTime. Go to OurTime.com today and start for free.
You're listening to Almost Entirely Sports
Let me ask you a question. Come postseason time, who do you want? You want Blake Griffin or you want Melo? Blake Griffin.
with Joshua Brisco
You want Blake Griffin over Carmelo Anthony?
on Sports Radio 810 WHB.
This unfortunately won't involve Stephen A. Smith, but I do want to actually get this audio played today. Because honestly, we've got some Brett Veach audio from Monday that I have wanted to get to for several shows.
I've got some Jalen Rose audio on Kevin Durant.
I also have some thoughts on Bobby Witt Jr. that I do want to get to at some point. But in the intermediate, something happened last night after Suns Lakers, and I still had the game up on my TV at home because I was just sort of basking in the glory of the Suns winning that game even without Devin Booker for most of the second half. And the NBA on TNT like Tuesday night crew, which is Dwayne Wade, Candace Parker, and Shaq, and it's emceed by Adam Lefkoe, I believe.
That sounds right. I don't remember exactly.
That's a person.
That sounds right.
I think it's kind of emceed by Lefkoe. And honestly, I was watching it last night, and there was this interaction between Shaq and Candace Parker with a little bit of Dwayne Wade sprinkled in there. And it was really awkward to the point that I almost texted somebody who I thought might have been watching, and I thought about tweeting about it, but I'm not trying to like blow up a TV show for trying to get its chemistry right. Like that would be pretty glass house of me.
Not blow it up.
Yeah, I'm not. I'm just trying to let
Blow
everybody.
it up.
Well, I don't want to
blow it up.
I don't really want to criticize
blow
the show
it up.
for issues like all of the hosts cross-talking too much. Seems like it might be hypocritical. But it was really kind of an awkward interaction, and a couple of these clips got tweeted out again today, and it became a little bit of a story. Last night, I searched Candace Shaq to see if people were talking about it on Twitter, and a few people were, but I hadn't really popped off or whatever. But then some of the clips got tweeted out today, and I got 2 clips of it that we'll hear now from Inside the NBA on TNT last night. This is mostly Shaq and Candace Parker. It was a conversation that was started, I believe, around a corner 3 that Jokic hit last night. And they're talking about guarding the Nuggets, essentially. And it just got kind of uncomfortable.
I think you switch at the point of pick and roll, but I do think that Jokic, like the NBA switches now, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
why? Whatever happened?
Because everybody can shoot threes.
Whatever happened to man up?
Because you're going to be manning up, trying to recover back to your man, and they're going to hit a 3 just like Jokic did.
No, but whatever happened to pre-rotating? And
then they move the ball around. And
you
got
4 to 5 3-point shooters on the court. You ain't going to rotate enough time.
Not rotating. Not rotating.
Yeah, but you got to take the easy pass away. Like, if you ain't going to switch, you got to take the easy pass. So that's what I'm
But
saying.
now you have guys that can throw the ball from one side of the court and find the guy in rhythm.
But that easy 1-5 pick and roll, the big is so far back like Shaq used to be all the time. And we won a championship. But here you go. Just throwing a shot at you, big fella. I love you. No, but did we win a championship? We did. Thank you. Because you started getting up on the screen.
And if you're not switching, the post players have to get up to the screen so they can recover back quicker to their man.
Right?
So you're right.
If you're higher up, you get back quick. Are we ever going to go back to where we man up and pre-rotate and show and get back? It's not the game today. Okay.
Too good of shooters.
Nuggets won tonight by
Everybody's
31.
not too good of a shooter, Candace. Stop.
You said nobody on the court.
I said everybody's not shooting like that. There's only a couple teams that shoot like that. Don't look at him. Everybody's not shooting a high percentage from 3, Candace.
Okay, are we saying everybody in general, or are we saying the majority?
You just said.
On the Nuggets, if you pre-rotate, they're going to kill you from the corner 3. What did they shoot from the 3? They shot 11 of 30. So they shot 36%. This is an off night.
Wade just looked at a stat and go, how did she do that
Yeah, I
so
was
quickly?
Like, with the number on. I'm up here like.
That Tennessee math, telling you.
Several things. And you guys, I got 3 things off the top of my head, and you guys can tell me what jumped out to you. Number 1, I feel like Dwayne Wade would be a cool hang. That dude's out here diffusing.
Totally.
I feel like Dwayne Wade is like a master like locker room diffuser guy. Good teammate. 2, the uncomfiest moment is also partially visual because Shaq said whatever he said partway through there, and Candace Parker looks over at Wade, and like there is like a 3 cut of like her making like 3 different faces and ultimately looking at Wade for like him to say something, because what Shaq said was clearly like just very old man basketball take, and then Shaq goes, "Don't look at him. Don't look at him. I'm talking. Let's talk about it." And that is extreme. That was extremely uncomfortable. And the third thing is that Shaq is just this guy now.
Yeah, so I really love it, and this is a cross-sport thing, when the old players don't like understand that a sport has changed. So Shaq's last year in the NBA was 2011. In 2011, 11 teams shot over 35% from 3. And the year 2020 2021. Is it 2020? Yeah,
2021 now,
2021,
yeah.
the 2020-21 season, 24 teams do.
Hit me with that one more time.
So back in 2011, Shaq's last year in the NBA, 11 teams shot over 35% from three. Fast forward to the 2020-21 season, 24 of them do.
That is a very good little not indictment, but a good example. The other thing is someone tweeted. I was trying to figure out who tweeted this.
The worst 3-point shooting team this year is Houston at 33%. They would finish 24th.
Patrick
back then.
Patrick Claybon, he does TV for NFL Network, I guess, tweeted, Shaq's view of basketball is understandably skewed by a lifetime of being Shaq, which
Yes.
also I think comes
Yes.
into play
Yeah.
here.
Absolutely matters.
Roger Sherman from The Ringer tweeted, Shaq is a one-man argument that it's possible to be too good at a sport to analyze it well. His only comment about any basketball situation has always been, these players should simply be as good as me, Shaq, which I thought was very good analysis. Beards, what did you think?
Shaq is very old school big man in terms of
because he was incredibly good at it.
Well, also because the guys he went up against were incredible.
Yeah,
like he had he had Hakeem, he had David Robinson, he had Alonzo Mourning, he had all of these guys that he was going up against, and watching Kareem and watching Wilt and these guys, and he thinks it should be played this way. Where, remember, he went on and on and on about Dwight Howard for years,
Yes.
and about Dwight Howard doesn't have a post-up game,
Yes.
so that makes him not a good center. It got in Dwight's head and literally ruined some of his career for that. And where he was saying Andrew Bynum's better than Dwight Howard and all of this stuff. Shaq is also very, very petty.
Yes.
This is going to be, I'm going to say something that make both of you just roll your eyes.
I'm gonna go ahead. You know what, Beards? I'm gonna pre-roll my eyes.
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
I'm gonna pre-roll my eyes to make Shaq happy.
Yeah.
I'm gonna pre-roll. Go ahead.
I've been rolling my eyes this whole
There
time, so
is-
it's fine.
NBA TV does that series called Open Court where they have Ernie Johnson and a bunch of old NBA guys talk.
Yeah.
And I was watching one recently.
My eyes are pre-rotating right
That's
now.
fine.
Crazy.
And I was watching one recently where it was, they were talking about that list of the 50 greatest players that the NBA did in 1997. And they were adding 10 more guys to that list. And they
Okay.
were doing it unanimously. Like, everybody had to vote this guy in.
Okay.
And Shaq was on that, and there was a whole bunch of other people. And somebody brought up Steve Nash. And Shaq was incensed that Steve Nash be voted in on that list because he stole an MVP from Shaq, in his view. Shaq's very petty.
Interesting. I didn't know that.
Oh, God, he hates Steve Nash for this. Because he only won one and Steve Nash won two. But Shaq's a very old school, not quite old man yells at clouds, but he's got a little bit of that in him.
We played that Donovan Mitchell sound. That man was yelling at a cloud.
That's true. But also, the one thing from that clip, his default argument for whenever he thinks he's wrong is, well, did we win a championship?
Yes.
But how many rings have I got? How many rings do you win? That's what Shaq goes to.
I wasn't expecting you to have a Shaq impression.
It's just, the thing that always annoys me with this is like it's all right to acknowledge that the sports have changed.
I'm sorry. I just was so surprised to see Beards open his mouth, and out of there was how many championships we went to, great. I just didn't expect.
But did we win a championship? Also, I want to point out, Dwayne Wade's the reason he won that championship.
Yes.
I looked at his stats because I was like, what, Dwayne Wade averaged
It was
37 points a
uncomfortable.
game in that series. Shaq averaged 13.
The other thing that both of you have mentioned on some level is it's Shaq analyzing basketball as Shaq, which
Yes.
is very understandable. But also,
He's been bad this year, though.
He has.
Yeah,
he has.
He's had a handful of just what.
But the thing about it is that this might be faint praise, and this might be a bad example. I don't know, but I'll use Barkley. It seems like Charles Barkley played basketball as Charles Barkley, and longer ago than Shaq. I feel like there's at least, in large part, an attempt to have an understanding of what basketball looks like now, because he's for Shaq or Barkley both, they are on TV as analysts for basketball in 2021.
Somewhat, Barkley will still kind of default somewhat
Totally.
to the
It's
degree
fake
of
praise.
jump shooting teams don't win championships.
Right.
When all teams now are jump shooting teams.
Right.
Yeah, one of the differences is Barkley doesn't like the modern NBA, but acknowledges that its existence.
Yeah,
Whereas
I
Shaq
think that's probably
doesn't
fair.
think that it exists. And yeah,
I think that's reasonable, and that's what I'm really splitting hairs on those guys just because they're both
They might be, at this point, the two faces of NBA analysis right now, which is kind of on like a national, like
terrifying.
studio show kind of.
Might be scary.
level.
I don't know if that's good or not.
I don't know either. The other thing was just like, Shaq. This is me being very media minded more than basketball minded. Shaq was being a bad teammate there. Like he was not advancing the conversation. Candace Parker was trying, and also she was good over the course of the whole show. I had not seen her do. I have not watched a whole lot of studio shows. I don't know if she's a permanent part of the crew. I
think she rotates in.
Does she pre-roll? Does she pre-rotate in, or
you can't do that now?
Okay. Why?
They'll kill you on the corner three.
Just gotta stop the easy pass.
But how many rings?
Beards, can you just say? I don't want to give you too much. I don't want to give you the whole. This is almost entirely sports. Just give me a. Let's take a break as Shaq, and then we can take a break.
Ooh. How many breaks we got left?
No, I need you to say, let's take a break.
Let's take a break. How many rings?
Beards, hit the button.
March Madness is on its way. Sports Radio 810 is your exclusive home of Championship Week, with live coverage from downtown at T-Mobile Center of the Big 12 Championship, plus live championship games from around the country, including the SEC, Pac-12, Big East, and the ACC. And we'll wrap it up with Selection Sunday and our exclusive bracket special. Your home for March Madness. Sports Radio 810, WHB.
When you're thinking about New Orleans, why not let jazz cook for you?
Laissez le bon temps rouler. Let the good times roll. That's what we do at Jazz. Papa Vic here to tell you about what's happening at your favorite restaurant, Jazz, a Louisiana kitchen. COVID still got you down? No worries. We're open. Come in and let Jazz cook for you. We've partnered with Proactive Protect to provide nanotechnology protection that sanitizes all our tables, chairs, and the interior of the restaurant. So come on in. Everybody is safe. Tired of your mama's cooking? Check out our website, jazzkitchens.com, and place your order online or through MenuFi. Not comfortable coming in? Check out our dedicated curbside parking spots, and we'll bring the taste of New Orleans to your car. 3 locations, the original at 39th and State Line, and at Legends of Village West, our newest location in Independence at I-70 and 291, just east of the Cable Dahmer Arena. Jazz, with a Dixieland band and a sultry day and every bite.
If you're dreaming about New Orleans, let jazz do your cooking up for you.
Jazz, where there's always a party every night.
Harry's Razors just came out with their sharpest blades ever. But unlike other razor companies, they're not charging you more. Harry's new sharper blades are still as low as $2 each. You heard me right, just $2. How do they do it? Harry's owns a German factory that's been honing razor blades for 100 years. They source their steel from Sweden and own the entire manufacturing process, from research and development to the factory floor. It allows them to keep the prices lower. How confident are they? A 100% quality guarantee. You'll see it at harrys.com. Blades are even delivered directly to you. No getting unmasked and standing in line. They're delivered straight to your door, with or without a subscription. And right now, Harry's has a great offer for my listeners. New customers get $5 off a Harry's trial set when you use the promo code PETRO, P-E-T-R-O, at harrys.com. That's a 5-blade razor, weighted handle, foaming shave gel, and travel cover, all for just $3, plus free shipping. That's razor, weighted handle, foaming shave gel, and travel cover, all for $3, shipped to you for free. Only at harrys.com, only with promo code PETRO.
Rick Edelman, #1 New York Times bestselling author and founder of Edelman Financial Engines, takes questions on his hit radio show. Let's listen to Rick help a caller who's saving for retirement.
Hey, Rick, how can I keep my retirement money safe?
By taking some risk. That sounds weird, I know, but when it comes to saving for retirement, if you try to keep your money safe, you're actually taking big risks. Savings accounts, well, they're not safe from inflation. They're not safe from taxes. There are, in fact, 18 different asset classes, and they all have different risks. So spread your money around, so no one thing can wipe you out. It's like having 12 eggs in 12 baskets. Diversification helps you manage your risk while still giving you the opportunities provided by the financial markets.
That was award-winning radio host Rick Edelman. Get help diversifying your portfolio from one of our financial planners by calling 888-PLAN-RICK or visit rickedelman.com.
Rock your home with new tops from Kansas City's best countertop fabricator, Rock Tops.
They custom fabricate and install stone surfaces that will make you fall in love with your home. Making homes look incredible is Rock Top's thing. Being nice just comes naturally. Rock Tops offers carry-out samples and virtual or in-home appointments. Call 913-782-0802 or go to rocktopskc.com. Mention 810 Rocks to receive 10% off right now.
This is Almost Entirely Sports with Joshua Brisco.
Hey, listen, I think the Big 12 made the right decision, but for him to be like in
They're
this...
getting paid in education out there, gosh darn it.
They're just out there trying to earn an education. Frankly, they might be overpaid. Why am I Bill Clinton?
On Sports Radio 810, WHB.
Did we win a championship, Dwayne? Did we not get a ring? I'm just saying. Everybody can't shoot the three.
God, I hate those arguments so much.
Rings. I don't know if we talked about this as the news was broken as it happened, but it's something we very much need to address here on the show, and that needs to be made relevant. We need to kind of get our take in on it first, I think. I'll show you both the picture once more as Taco Bell's entry into the chicken wars. Beard's like, if I would have been a good host, I would have given you enough notice to put on the Twitch.
Well,
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. We don't have time. But
all in.
It is fried chicken
Let's go.
with what appears to be some sort of like maybe their Chipotle kind of mayo sauce.
Yes.
One of them's got pickled jalapenos on it.
Give me 5.
And it's in basically a burger.
Maybe 10.
It's maybe like a biscuit kind of wrap, but it's in a taco shape.
All day, every day.
And so it's vertical, and they're calling it the crispy chicken sandwich taco.
Oh boy.
We're gonna crush a bunch of these, right?
Is it out yet?
I don't know. I haven't gotten. I have not double checked on that.
I want it.
This Thrillist article does not land. It's landing in 2021 like a meteor hitting Earth and wiping out all life.
I meant to say this earlier. James Harden's already second in Nets history in triple doubles.
Still has more free throws made than field goals for his career.
March 11th for the chicken taco sandwich. Is this chicken sandwich a taco? This one is, right?
Yes.
This one actually may have solved everything. No show tomorrow night. KU UTEP on 810. We'll be back after that. Bye, Mom.
You are listening to Almost Entirely Sports with Joshua Brisco on Sports Radio 810 WHB.
Hey sports fans, Joni here, and I'm excited to tell you about the newly opened In the Zone Cryo. In the